growth. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
All right, so there's going to be a segment of folks that will just be bypassing the big game and will just be napping. I'm going to just throw this out there that you've got plenty of time to get to a sleep train near you and partake in a mattress of your choice so you could have a comfortable one. You could feasibly, after you do what you need to do on Sunday, you could enjoy like an 8-hour nap and totally bypass everything that is related to football or over expensive commercials. Whatever you have planned this weekend, maybe you're going to watch the game. Think about, a future visit to Sleep Train and bettering the sleep department part of your bedroom, okay? Because the President's Day sale is going on right now, but it's going to be ending fairly shortly. And we're talking about, hey, anytime you can talk about 4 years interest-free, that is a good time.
Yeah, it's a great time. So why don't you go in and find out how you can get 4 years interest-free financing on Tempur-Pedic or Beauty Rest Black Hybrid, which is a Sleep Train exclusive. And it's all on your approved credit with up to 48 equal monthly payments required. And you get to save up to $300 on one of Tempur-Pedic's most popular mattress sets before the prices go up. So hurry in. You'll even get same-day delivery, removal, and setup when you purchase by 2 p.m. That's pretty cool. Sleep Train's President's Day sale ends very soon. You'll find them in Albany, Corvallis, Eugene, and Springfield, and tell them that Rob and Bill from the Wake Up Call sent you. Please.
The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Man, I might just chill tonight.
Puppy monkey baby. 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 Puppy monkey baby.
It's got the bottom torso of a baby, so the diaper down, it's human. It's got a monkey kind of, midriff and then a puppy head.
Juice, caffeine.
Puppy monkey baby.
And it's ridiculous. I mean, the first time you watch it and then you see the puppy monkey baby jump on a human adult and start licking its face, and you're just like, how many people okayed this? Was there a panel that said, okay, we're going to put $5 million out there for this 30-second TV commercial for the Super Bowl, and people are going to love it. We'll be the talk of Monday morning. That's kind of why I play it, just because I have a feeling, and maybe I could be wrong. My assessment of what, is cute and cuddly and at least bizarre could be askew, and people might find it adorable and just enough weird that they do talk about it. Anyway, we'll be talking about commercials 8:25. If you've seen a couple that you think are worthy of a mention, we'd love to even include your email or your phone call coming up about 8:25 in the 8 o'clock hour. So, at least when you have the Duck Athletic Fund, I mean, there's no surprises. If you got season tickets,
that
you are
into it.
Contributing to the athletic department. And it's, and people complain about it, and some people, they have given up their tickets. I've known several people, a couple here at the radio station, that don't want to pay it and don't want to play that game, and
they don't do it.
They're content to watch it on television. And then there's other ways and other, events where things get a little less transparent and things get a little sneaky. And
are you talking about the whole lodging tax? What is amazing, isn't it? I mean, okay, so you have the IAAFF?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they're looking at anything, and I'm not just talking about federal investigators, I'm talking about internationally. All their stuff is being looked at because of the way that they're deciding who gets what and what cities and what countries are getting these events, because the board leadership there essentially is being paid off. I mean, they were, what was it? Was it in France where they just went in and arrested about 30 of them? So there were some definite cocked eyebrows dealing with the championships coming to Eugene in 2021. And at first, when Tracktown went to state leaders and said, we need about $25 million to be able to pull this deal off. We need you to pony up. Former Governor Kitzhaber and some legislators, even Kate Brown, were like, oh, no, no way, no how, not going to happen, won't do it. No. You're
saying it was an emphatic no.
Yes. And then, oddly enough, Phil Knight gets into it, and he starts chatting with the governor and with some other folks and legislators. And then just a few months later, Governor Kitzhaber comes out and says, by golly, I'm going to make sure that you get this money. I am behind this, and you're going to get the money. And once again, eyebrows start getting cocked. And then, of course, there's the whole governor, girlfriend, federal investigation, tax evasion thing, and he goes away. So they go to the legislature, Tracktown does, and says, we need money. And it looked like they were going to get it, but, this controversy keeps coming up about, why is it here in Eugene? How did it come to be in Eugene? So now, courtesy of Representative Nancy Nathanson, a problem solver, she says, okay, so what they're asking for is we simply double the lodging tax, right? And this is a tax that if you go to Shiloh Inn or Elizabeth Street Inn or the Hilton or wherever, and you get a room, you pay this lodging tax. They always say that, okay, this is how much it's going to cost plus X amount taxes. All right, okay. Well, now they're going to double it. Okay, and Tracktown wanted them to double it, and because they wanted the $21 to $25 million. Do this, and then we can have the money. Well, again, Nancy Nathanson, being your local representative, being a problem solver, has said, okay, you know what? It's a really good idea to do this, but, it's going to look kind of stinky if we just sort of give it to them, and because of this controversy. So maybe what we'll do is we'll double it, and then we'll have the Oregon Tourism Board, which is what it used to be called, we'll let them decide where the money goes. Because it wouldn't be right for us to be involved in where it's going to go. So we'll let these people who have never given anyone a fund this big, even close, they give like little tiny grants, like, $10,000 and $15,000 grants for tourism. Now they're going to bestow someone $25 million. Someone. But not necessarily will it come here. We're not necessarily going to do that. Because after all, we're just going to leave it up to Tour Oregon. We're going to leave it up to them. And they will decide. And that way it could go to anybody. Oh, okay. Well, this little board, I'm sure they're going to take a look at everybody's going to be sending, okay, we need money to cover our bridge, and we need money to build a kiosk, and we need.
Hey, I'm going to put my house up for Airbnb. Maybe I should.
There you go.
Apply.
There you go. Rob's B&B. So you should say, I need $25 million to upgrade my home so it can be a B&B. And they're going to decide who gets it. And so it may not go. It may not come here. And, of course, the governor, her fingerprints are not going to be on it, even though the board is made up all of appointees by the governor. Well, there is that. But I bet they're independent. I bet. And I bet they're not. I guarantee you they're not going to do anything just because the governor would want it. Because they're volunteers. And they're objective. I mean, I respect somebody that just, comes out and says, look, and this isn't really no knock on Tracktown. Yeah, I mean, they're just coming out and doing what you would expect. We would like to have this money. Okay, fine. But at least on the legislative and the lawmakers' side, just man up and own it. Own what you're doing, that you're doubling this tax so that they can get it. And just give it to them if that's what you're going to do. But to come up with this facade of, yeah, okay, well, we're just, for whatever reason, doubling the tax, and then we're just going to let these people decide where it's going to go. You know damn good and well where it's going to end up. There's no mystery. It's not like it's going to be a shock. It went to Tracktown. Who would have guessed? No. But going into an election season, of course, your legislators, the governor, because she has to run to try and prove that she deserves the office of governor. She's going to run. Has to, required by law. Nobody wants their fingerprints on it, and nobody wants to say, this all of a sudden smacks of cronyism because after Phil Knight went and chatted with everybody, all of a sudden the governor, everybody else is on board with it. Oh. Do we have a professor with us? Is that what you're pointing at? Hey, look who's here. It's Professor
I'm ready
Alan
for
Sachs.
action.
Are you ready for action?
I'm ready.
Thanks for joining us on the Wake Up Call. We're just ranting this morning.
I am too. I'm mad at my university. I got parking tickets, and I'm furious at them.
Really? Don't you have like some sort of faculty sticker or something?
Yeah, and it cost us a lot of money, and I got it all done, and yet I still got a parking violation, and boy, I'm mad. Everybody's mad this time of year, and I am too.
Wow, you got a parking ticket.
I'm mad.
All right, you're not armed, are you?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure everything's. Did you park in like a yellow zone?
No, what it is, I had a new car, and the license plates were different because I had a different license number. But I registered, everything's done, but they just didn't register the license numbers, and I did that, and I'm furious. So after I'm off the air in an hour or two, I'm calling them up.
Wow.
I'll show up.
You're going to give them a piece of your mind. You're going to give somebody a good firm talking to. Professor,
I'm going to tell them I was on nationwide radio talking about parking tickets.
Yeah, nationwide. Keep saying that. It's University of Texas at Arlington political professor Alan Sachs joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. Okay, so the Iowa caucuses are done. Presidential candidates are looking at New Hampshire. Which obviously is going to be quite a bit of a different fight than the Hawkeye state. With the mix-up in front-runners, and when I say the mix-up, I don't think mix-up is really the right word. With the swap, if you will, of front-runners, how much is Trump really going to be affected by the loss? How much is Cruz actually going to be affected by the win? And is this going to do anything for Bernie Sanders or not?
Yeah, it's quite a volatile election season. You're exactly right. As we move to New Hampshire, Donald Trump looks like he's going to be a winner. And so does Bernie Sanders. They have double digits over their second-place people, Bernie Sanders and Marco Rubio, respectively. On the Republican, Marco Rubio, Hillary Clinton is running second to Bernie Sanders on the Democratic side. And it looks like that's the way it's going to happen. But even if you win second place, I'm thinking of the Republicans more than anybody else, if Marco Rubio does very well, still loses, the expectations will be greater for him. So you can lose and still be a winner in the state of New Hampshire. And I think that's what's going to happen to Marco Rubio. If he fares a little bit better than what the polls show, he's going to be declared the winner, even though Donald Trump may actually have most of the votes.
All right, so when Hillary loses in New Hampshire, is it going to be a victory for her if she's closer than the spread or not?
That's a good question. Probably not. The same thing is not going to hold for her. I think she understands the scenario from this point. She won barely in Iowa, barely, as everybody knows.
On 6 coin flips.
Exactly. And the Des Moines Register newspaper, I think, is calling for an audit of the election results. I don't believe that's going to happen. Very difficult to redo an election or even to recount the votes, and that's not going to happen, I think, this time in Iowa. She knows she's going to lose in New Hampshire. What she's banking on, and I think she's probably correct, is that when the campaigns begin to move to the South, South Carolina, Virginia, other states, she's going to do much better with the strong minority communities there. And that's what she's banking on, and she's probably correct. Among African-American voters in some of the states in the South, she has about a 70% margin over Bernie Sanders. So she knows that Bernie Sanders is getting a lot of play out of Iowa, next week out of New Hampshire, but she's pretty confident she's going to get the nomination, and I believe she's right. Probably not going to be an indictment. She'll get the Democratic nomination. The real issue is who she's going to run against on the Republican side, and therein is the big battle taking place.
All right, so what would it take for Sanders to be able to pull a couple of rabbits out of the hat in the South? I mean, besides the obvious of, it's going to take a miracle. I mean, what strategically could he do to, take a few states away from Hillary in the South?
That's a good question. He'd have to appeal to young people. But
that's the people that he's already appealing to.
That's right, and he'll have to somehow mobilize that in the South as well, and I don't know if it's there. Iowa and New Hampshire, they have a lot of universities, a lot of young people. Iowa, especially, the university towns are fairly liberal and are for Bernie. I see that in my own classroom where they like him a lot, Bernie Sanders. They want everything for free. They like Bernie. They think they're mad, and they think Bernie's going to articulate their values, and they may be right. But in the South, he just hasn't been able to click, and I don't know why that is. He's able to do that in other states, but not in the South. But that's his hope. If he could tap in to the young people's vote in the southern states, then I think he might be able to pull some upsets, or at least come in much closer than it looks like he's going to be able to do. But I think that's a far, far distant reality for him.
All right. What about New York? When New York comes into play, how do you think Sanders will do in New York? Obviously, Hillary was a senator there.
That's a good point. New York is a very liberal state, especially New York City. By the way, New York State is not. Upstate New York and some of the places is even fairly conservative and Republican. It's New York City, and that is Bernie Sanders' home city. That's where he was born. So he may be, if it goes to New York, he may be able to do very well in New York City. By the way, Donald Trump has said he can carry New York State. I think that's a long shot, but those things could happen in this very strange election year. It's very emotional, and things are turning literally every 5 minutes. Things are turning around. Jeb Bush is now mobilizing his mother and his brother on the campaign trail. And
Mom, come save me, Mom. Mom!
That's right.
Mom, you're mean to me.
I have to admit it was sort of sad to see that on television this morning, where Jeb Bush's mother, Barbara Bush, the esteemed former First Lady, comes in, walking very slowly to campaign for her son. And you want to say, it does look a little bit sad. And I may have mentioned earlier,
it's pathetic,
another
is what it
incident
is.
happened where he made a very impassioned speech on national security. And nobody applauded. They just stared at him. And he tells the audience, please clap.
Please clap.
It was a strange scenario.
Yeah.
Please clap.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been enjoying that video clip for a while.
It really is. It's a strange scenario. I went in my classroom after that, and I told my classroom after I made a great speech, I said, please clap. And they did.
Did they get it?
They got it. Finally, they got it.
Okay, I was just wondering if they actually understood, because they are college students.
You're so right. I had to tell them, though, 5 times what it meant, but it's okay.
Wow. I mean, I'm assuming it's a political science class, of
right,
course.
Exactly.
Are they that disconnected, really, from what is going on politically in a political science class? They didn't even get
Now, this was an introductory class. I have to make that note. But my classes are like the United Nations. There's students there from all over the world, and many of the students just do not follow American politics very closely. Some do. In fact, some of my international students follow it even more than my students from the immediate area.
Of course.
But it's a very mixed class as far as the world is concerned. So sometimes it's difficult to address the personalities, the issues in the introductory class to people from all over the world. But I try my best.
So, Prof, how long have you been teaching political
I'm in my
science?
51st year.
Okay, 51st year. So if you compare students from 51 years ago, which would be, what, 1965?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So if you compare the students you had in 1965 with the students that you have now, would you say that they are more or less connected and informed about what goes on in the world than they were 51 years ago?
I think they're much less connected today. That's an overly general statement. They are less connected. I'm not saying that every student in 1965 was connected, but they were. Remember, Vietnam is going on. We had the military draft, civil rights demonstrations, college upheavals. So I think a lot of them were much more connected then than today. But today the students just do not have the protocol, I guess is the right word, on how to relate to the world, how to act, how to behave. And those things, I think, are very lacking today in comparison to earlier generations. I may just be showing my age. Some of the students today are extremely bright and very good, but I honestly think less connected. And we see that a lot, like on Fox Television with Water's World, and we see other late-night comedians talking about this. And strangely enough, I think they're really onto something. It's not hard science, but I think it does represent a very different generation. They're on their cell phones a lot. They're disconnected from the world. They have the world in their fingertips, and yet many of them know very little.
Do you subscribe to the meme of them just feeling entitled that they should get it just because they exist?
Oh, yes. Yeah, there's no question about that. There is, this has been talked about a lot. It's not just me. There's great inflation. But what we've done, it's a strange paradox. Universities, colleges, under pressure from politicians and the community, have democratized education. Everybody can go to college today, whether it's a community college or a major university. Everybody's going to be able to go. That was not true in 1965. There's something very good about that, and there's something not so good about that. So as more students come in, ill-prepared, not quite understanding what a college university is all about, the standards inevitably, I think, begin to collapse. Although I think a lot of teachers would not like to acknowledge that, but it's true. Standards have gone down. There's great inflation, and this entitlement that they get from kindergarten all up has permeated into college universities as well.
When you say grade inflation, giving them higher grades than they really deserve, the reason for that being what?
The standards have gone down. You know, it's just a different standards. In my days when I was at the University of Oklahoma as a student many years ago, we had 6, 7 books that we had to read in addition to what took place in the class. If a person did that today in an average history class or a political science class or a sociology class, had 6, 7 books that were mandatory, that in addition to what went on in the class, I think the students would literally go berserk. They wouldn't know what to do. And by the way, their reading skills have also declined very, very dramatically. By the way, I'm overgeneralizing. There are some students that are absolutely magnificent, but as a general run of the students, I think what I'm saying is probably fairly accurate, although I don't think you're going to get many professors to join in my chorus.
Why?
They're fearful. Fearful meaning if they talk this way, they believe it comes back to them. Somebody would say, if your students are not doing this, it's your fault. It's your fault. And so now all the pressure is on the professor, is on the teacher. In my day in college, there was an equal amount of pressure, if not more, on the student. You learn, you read, you come to class. And that is just not felt as much today as it used to be.
All right. Hey, Professor, always love having you on the show. I generally like the off-topic conversations that we have more than the on-topic.
And by the way, even though it's an off-topic, it does give you an idea of what the electorate is like out there, too.
God, that's scary. All right.
Professor, if you want us to write you a note about your parking ticket, we'll be willing to do
I
that.
need that a lot. That's great.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Professor
so
Alan
much.
Sachs joining us on the Wake Up Call again from the University of Texas at Arlington. Love having him on the show. All right, so keep in mind that there's a lot of hardworking people out there. You may be one of them who maybe have had some bad luck. I'm talking about something like maybe a ton of medical bills or a bunch of credit card debts that went totally gunny on you, or even student loans. Just it can be anything that can cause a financial setback, and all of a sudden you see your credit basically do the slow swirl down the drain. Well, with Guarantee Discount Chevrolet, they know that there are good people out there who have bad credit, and when you need a car, you need a car. So Guarantee has the Good People, Bad Credit program where they can help you get a quality, safe, reliable vehicle in 48 hours or less. And it does a bunch of different things. Besides get you back to work, it helps you reestablish your credit. So if you're one of those folks that needs a good, clean, quality vehicle and you've got bad credit, but you're a good person, well, contact Guarantee Discount Chevrolet at 541-998-2333, 541-998-2333. Call Robert Sloan. He'll help get you the loan at Guarantee Discount Chevrolet.
Hi, I'm Eric Harple with Realty One Group. You've heard our ads with Glenn Beck and Lars Larson for years, and like they said, I have been the top real estate agent in Lane County for more than 5 years. But honestly, who cares? What I care about is helping you get your home sold for the most money possible within your time frame. My team and I help more home sellers sell than any other agent, and most at full price or more. How? Massive marketing. When you're number one, you can do things the others can't. I'm not bragging. I'm applying for a job. I want to be your realtor. And if you're not happy, fire me. Mind you, I think you'll be happy because our bulletproof listing offers flexible commissions, the right to sell it yourself, cancel anytime. You're in control. We sell homes for top dollar regardless of the time of year, and we put the money in your pocket. For a free information package, call 541-286-3030. Call Harple Real Estate countywide 541-286-3030 or harplehomes.com. Thank you.
Wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, a crashing economy. Are you ready? At best, your local stores have a 3-day supply of food. Will your family have to fight over what's left? Are you willing to gamble your family's safety that it'll never happen to you? Be wise and be ready with 25-year shelf life Wise Food Storage. Wise Food Storage provides affordable, ready-made gourmet meals with a super long 25-year shelf life. Meals like pasta Alfredo, cheesy lasagna, breakfast, dessert, drinks, and snacks. Just add water and your family is eating delicious food instead of fighting for scraps in a food riot. Try it free. Order a no-obligation free sample meal delivered right to your front door. And for a limited time, get a 10% discount and free shipping on all orders. Once done, you're set for 25 years. Be wise and be ready with Wise Food Storage. Call for your free sample now. 800-775-9353. 800-775-9353. 800-775-9353.
Hertz Car Sales Superstores are celebrating this President's Day with savings all month long. You can literally save thousands over new.
Scott Hoysh here from Hertz Car Sales of Eugene. The amazing thing about Hertz Car Sales Superstores, our inventory, is not just a few cars to choose from. It's more than 1,000 vehicles, trucks, SUVs, all-wheel drives, 4x4s, family cars, sports cars, hybrids, and budget cars. Nearly every make and model, all with clearly marked prices. We have what you're looking for right here at Hertz Car Sales of Eugene. And for our President's Day event, it's not just one day or a weekend, but the entire month of February. If you're looking for a newer, nicer vehicle, start with Hertz Car Sales Superstores. With our inventory and variety of financing options to help almost anybody. Remember, Beltline and West 11th, where Hertz Car Sales will save you money.
Don't miss President's Day savings all month long at the Hertz Car Sales Superstores. On West 11th, just off the Beltline, and always online at HertzEugene.com. Hertz Car Sales of Eugene, the better way to buy a car.
The hometown advantage. You can see it in that new shop down on Main Street, in the office downtown, the factory by the river, and the farm down the road. It's because of people like Reggie in finance and Ruth, the paramedic. Keisha, the designer, has it, and so does Orlando, the nurse. They live around here. They care about this community. They work hard to succeed, and that makes a difference. At EugeneHelpWanted.com, we're proud to work the Hometown Advantage. We work it around the clock, connecting local employers and local job seekers with local jobs they're good at, jobs they deserve. Post your job today and search a database of resumes to find, select, and hire the best local employees. Employees who live close by, close to family and friends, close to home. That's the Hometown Advantage. EugeneHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work.
News Radio 1120 KPNW.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman to save money.
We need a new stuntman!
You just need feedthepig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
This Fox
is a
News,
guided meditation
fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. There was less new hiring last month. 151,000 jobs were created, fewer than expected, but the unemployment rate dropped to 4.9%, the lowest since 2008. Wall Street's reaction? A return to selling. Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides live at the New York Stock Exchange.
Stocks are selling across the board, Dave. Right now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 70 points at 16,348. The Nasdaq down 55. The S&P 500 down 12. We're seeing weight on energy in particular. This as oil is selling off. And we're watching LinkedIn down 40%, new low with a weaker than expected forecast. It's taking Yelp and Twitter down along with it. Dave.
Thank you, Nicole. A big crane collapsed this morning in New York City, killing one person, seriously injuring two more when it came crashing down onto a Manhattan street, smashing parked cars. A Missouri couple, some called Bonnie and Clyde, has had their crime spree end in a Florida shootout. Fox's Evan Brown live in Miami.
And Dave, Blake Fitzgerald and Brittany Harper had been leading police across states, holding up stores and causing all sorts of mayhem. Fitzgerald was killed in a shootout with police near Pensacola, Florida this morning. Harper was wounded. The two had just abducted a shoe store clerk from Birmingham, Alabama, set him free in the town of Vestavia Hills.
This was a big case for us. This is something that doesn't happen in Vestavia, fortunately, very often. And for us, we're glad it's over. It's unfortunate it ended this way.
Police Lieutenant Kevin York. The pair had been on the run since Sunday, Dave.
And Bernie Sanders nearly tied Hillary Clinton in Iowa. Now a new Quinnipiac poll has the Democratic race at dead heat nationally. She's up by 2 points.
Secretary Clinton does represent the establishment.
Bernie Sanders also again attacked Clinton on MSNBC in last night's debate for taking money from Wall Street.
Enough is enough. If you've got something to say it directly.
She questioned if Sanders is progressive enough on gun control. Donald Trump keeps leading the Republican polls, but Marco Rubio has surged to second in New Hampshire. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Northwest Burger inside the 5th Street Market features burgers so amazing they're an experience all their own. Freshly ground meat and local produce combined with the creativity of local chef Garrett Kirsch makes for a burger experience like no other. You'll get mouth-watering goodness in every single bite. Check out their menu and photos on Facebook. Northwest Burger, located in the 5th Street Market. It's not just a burger, it's an experience.
ALS is a tough disease to fight, relentlessly progressive. We have no therapy for it. And virtually everyone who gets the disease ultimately succumbs to it. How do we stop this? How do we break through ALS? The ALS Therapy Alliance has been instrumental in discovery and treatment. The issue is being willing to take risks where we think there's a very high payback. We are a team of fighters. Randy is a fighter. Help us break through ALS. Thank you.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, who's been under fire for publishing classified U.S. information online. Then he went into hiding in Britain to avoid being sent to Sweden in a sex case. He's now hailing a UN ruling in his favor. Fox's Simon Owen, live in London.
Dave, Julian Assange saying he feels vindicated as a UN panel rules that he should be allowed to walk free from the Ecuadorian embassy here in London without fearing arrest. Assange entered the embassy 3 years ago to avoid being extradited to Sweden over sex assault claims which he denies, but he fears being sent on to the US after his website published American military secrets. British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond rejecting today's report. saying Assange still faces arrest if he steps outside. Dave?
Simon, Chicago police keep trying to solve the mystery of 6 bodies found inside a home, investigating it as a possible murder-suicide.
Chicago Police Detective Gene Roy says 6 bodies were found Thursday in a home on the city's south side.
2 young males, ages 10 and 13, and 4 adults consisting of 2 women and 2 men.
They were discovered after police got a call from a coworker worried about someone who lived in the house, and they're believed to be related.
We pretty much have an idea who the family is, but due to our protocol, until the family is formally identified by survivors, we're not in a position to release that information.
The deaths are being treated as a homicide. The medical examiner's office has not released a cause of death. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
As more cases of Zika spring up in the U.S., Brazilian officials say they're sending a set of samples related to that virus outbreak to America. Following complaints from international health officials, Brazil was refusing to share enough viral samples and information. Zika is linked to birth defects in Brazil. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
Good morning. Welcome in the Wake Up Call, 1120 KPNW. Don't forget, we're streaming worldwide, and hello to you if you are out of the Continental. Drop us an email, 1120kpnw@gmail.com. If that is you, let us know where you're at. Pretty good looking day until about 4-ish. And we got some heavy rain coming in with, well, not really the rain, it's the wind that I think is going to be the issue. 20 to 30 miles per hour. The gusts with the gust situation on the Oregon coast. Talking 40 to 50. So batten down if you're headed out there to play on the beach this afternoon. Other than that, the weekend, pretty decent. 52 tomorrow, 59 on Sunday with some sunshine and an overall, I would say, jubilant feeling as we get ready for another weekend.
Are you feeling jubilant?
No, but I think I will be because I think we're going to make somebody happy. I'm joyous. Yeah, I feel pretty good.
Good. We're going to give some folks some Eugene Boat and Sportsman Show tickets. Complimentary passes, so to speak. I think we're going to give away a bunch of them. I think we're going to give away 2 family 4-packs of 4.
Wow.
2 family 4-packs of 4.
So the whole family can go.
No, but they're family 4-packs. Yeah, so you can take the whole family. Unless you have a family of 5. And then what you're going to have to do is... you're going to have to flip a coin to see which one of your children
and
is
do
going
a best
to cry.
of 6. Do it 6 times.
Right. Just like, Hillary did.
How about we do 1 4-pack now, 1 4-pack at the 8 o'clock hour?
Okay. I'm good with that.
Okay.
So let's just go... First caller at 541-485-5769. If you've won anything in the last 30 days, give someone else a chance to steal our lunch money. That's 541-485-5769. And you don't have to do anything to win these. You just have to be able to pick them up by 5 o'clock today.
No, the show? No, nothing?
Nah. I'm feeling lazy.
You're feeling boring. KPNW, good morning.
Hey, am I the first caller?
Yeah?
Sweet.
Sweet. Who is this?
It's Craig.
Craig, where are you calling from?
Eugene.
All right. You almost sounded like you were embarrassed to say that.
Say what?
I said you almost sounded like you were embarrassed to say that.
No, not embarrassed at all.
Oh, okay. Good deal. Well, we've got a family 4-pack for you of Eugene Boat and Sportsman Show passes. Of course, if you don't want to take your family, that's up to you, but we call it a family 4-pack because it makes us sound friendly.
No, that's perfect. I'll take my wife and 2 grandkids.
All right. So these are good for, Friday, today, Saturday, and Sunday. So you're good to go, man.
Perfect. What do I do? Just come down and pick them up?
Yeah, we'll get some information.
Give the
from
code
you.
word. The code word is going to be your name.
Yeah.
Okay.
There
Perfect.
you go. Craig, out of curiosity, what are you most apt to want to see? Is there one thing in particular that stands out that you, kind of the highlight for you?
No, not nothing in particular. Just the whole show.
Okay, the whole show. Wow. Okay.
Good enough.
All right.
We're going to get some info. Hang on the line. We'll get some information from you here in just a second. We've got news coming up next. It is 7:08 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
In the morning, when you're on the run, stop and eat at Burrito Amigos. One of Burrito Amigos' little-known facts is that you can get the Burrito Amigos breakfast platter. Once you've ordered it, you need to start making decisions. Are you going to have bacon, link sausage, chorizo, or chili verde? And how are those eggs going to be cooked? Over easy, scrambled, kind of hard, sunny side up, or some other way? Then you wait a minute or so, and it's all served up with potatoes, cheese, beans, and corn tortillas. Once someone smiling delivers the Burrito Amigos platter, it's breakfast on. It's a quick, tasty, inexpensive sit-down meal. It's only $7.50, or do it meatless for $6.50 if you want to get all vegetarian first thing in the morning. Since their name is Burrito Amigos, a big old breakfast burrito isn't out of the question, with your choice of bacon, sausage, chorizo, machaca, or huevos rancheros in junior or adult size. As Burrito Amigos' biggest fan, I vote adult, the large one. It holds more bacon. Burrito Amigos in Springfield and Eugene. Stop and eat breakfast. I'm Bill London, Burrito Amigos fan, and I approve this message.
Mark your calendars, get a babysitter, gather up your girlfriends. It's time for the 13th year of Affair of the Heart. It's Lane County's premier women's event. You've been balancing a busy life, and you deserve a night off. What could be better than fashion shopping, martinis, free samples, and great health and wellness information? The 13th annual Affair of the Heart on February 11th from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Lane Event Center. Find us on Facebook or go to theaffairoftheheart.com for details. See you there. Sponsored by Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
You'll hear it here first. This is your wake-up call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Well, details of the indictment against Ammon Bundy and the others involved in the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge takeover have been released. Brad Ford has the details.
The indictment says Ammon Bundy, the 4 people currently at the refuge, and 11 other people conspired to use guns to take over the refuge. On October 5th, they traveled to Harney County to tell the sheriff they planned extreme civil unrest. Then January 2nd, they were armed when they took over the refuge. When they kept law enforcement off the property, they prevented them from doing their job, which is the basis of the charges against them. They also threatened violence against police and threatened the residents of Harney County. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
Workers from Eugene Parks and Recreation Open Spaces Division were surprised to find the work of volunteers, ruined.
Staff found that over 100 of the 200 trees that we had planted with the help of volunteers along Amazon Creek had actually been ripped out of the ground and thrown into the creek.
Kelly Darnell of the Eugene Parks and Rec Department says the trees were planted between Oak Patch Road and City View Street near West 11th Avenue by more than 50 volunteers with the Eugene Metro Rotary Club and the U of O's Holden Leadership Center. Surprisingly, this is not the first time that something like this has occurred.
A very similar incident happened a couple years ago. So we took a big break from trying to actually restore the native habitat in this area and tried it again here a couple weeks ago in honor of Martin Luther King Day of Service.
Kelly Darnell of Eugene Parks and Recreation says the trees were planted between, the total loss is estimated at $3,000. That was tax money, by the way. The trees were planted to make good on a state permit for the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System under the Federal Clean Water Act. The trees are going to be replaced, but there's no timetable. The EPD is investigating. Raise a tax, then wash your hands of the outcome because, there might be stink attached. That's what the legislature is planning to do. A bill in the legislature would double the statewide lodging tax. The request to double the amount is being made by the nonprofit Tracktown USA for the 2021 World Track and Field Championships to be held in Eugene in 2021. Now, they want a $25 million subsidy from the state, and it would be funded by this increase that they are lobbying for. However, it's an election year, and it looks bad for the legislature to increase taxes and then pass the money on to a favored group that's under controversy because, well, that's kind of cronyism. So, Eugene Representative Nancy Nathanson, a problem solver, is taking a new tactic. Increase the lodging tax and then let Travel Oregon, the state's tiny marketing arm, decide who gets the money. Now, in this fashion, neither the legislature nor the governor are involved in the growing controversy over funding for the event. As for Travel Oregon, the board, which only in the past has made very small grants, will decide if Tracktown gets the money or someone else does. Just for the record, Travel Oregon and the board is made up of the governor's appointees. For the record, Travel Oregon has never in its history ever allocated anything even close to $25 million. House Bill 4146 will get an initial public hearing in the House Revenue Committee meeting today during the short session. Oregon lawmakers are considering a change to the background check system for buying a gun. Brad Ford reports that, well, some call it a loophole, even though it was written into the law. It's actually on the books, not a loophole.
If the background check doesn't return in 3 days, the retailer can complete the sale. Sharon Risher's mother was killed at the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, by a man who got his gun that way.
Because of a flaw in our background check systems.
Kevin Sterrett with the Oregon Firearms Federation says it is not a flaw. He says lawmakers intended it to exist.
The tiny and insufficient safeguards in the current law are not loopholes. Every right is not a loophole that needs to be closed.
Sterrett says it's there to protect the right of the gun buyer when the state can't provide or support a system to complete gun background checks. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW News.
So Oregon legislators are considering a new way to take your money with a tax on vaping products. Owners of vape stores like Spencer Knowles and Ben says it'll drive customers to the internet and literally out of their stores.
The 50% tax proposed on vaporizing products, I believe, will price vaporizing products above tobacco itself.
Courtney Dressler with the Oregon Medical Association says the goal is to make it too expensive for kids.
We're hoping if raising this price will allow the youth and teens not to get these products.
Studies show vaping does help adults quit smoking. For teens, it can turn them on to smoking. By the way, it's already against the law for anyone younger than 18 to buy vaping products in Oregon, so one might ask the question, then why raise the taxes? Oh, state wants the money. Never mind. Governor Kate Brown and Secretary of State Gene Atkins says more than 4,300 Oregonians have been registered to vote under a unique new Oregon law that's been dubbed Motor Voter. The system registers voters after they obtain or renew their driver's license, permit, or identification card. Brown and Atkins on Thursday released the final tally of how many people have been registered to vote under a new law that took effect January 1st. Atkins says the results so far, 4,300 new voters, is impressive considering Oregon had previously been adding half as many new voters every month on average. Another 17,000 already registered voters have updated their addresses under the new system, which means more ballots will reach their rightful owners. Well, the federal investigation continues into Sylvia Hayes. Remember her? Governor Kitzhaber's fiance, companion, the First Lady, who he called First Lady and then stopped saying she was First Lady. Well, anyway, she's going on the trail again, trying to, if you will, make her image better. She says that she thought that the federal investigation would be over by now.
I had no idea that the investigation would go on this long. I think there was a part of me that was like, okay, let's get that wrapped up and done and then move back on.
The investigation, among other things, is looking into whether her private consulting firm benefited because of her connection to Governor Kitzhaber. And she says she doesn't know where it'll lead.
I so wish that I could say something about this. I don't know. I don't know the status of it.
Because the investigation is pending, she won't answer questions about whether she did anything wrong. In essence, she's basically going out on a PR tour. She does say that she made a good faith effort to do everything above the books, and she believes she will be cleared. Bend businessman Sam Carpenter announced his candidacy for the U.S. Senate as the Republican seeks the party nomination to unseat longtime incumbent Senator Ron Wyden, the Democrat from Oregon, who actually lives in New York. In a news release announcing the campaign, the telecommunications executive and so-called business turnaround specialist founded CentralTel, a private 911 call center 31 years ago in Bend. He also operates several small firms related to business rescue. Carpenter announced in 2013 he was going to run against Senator Jeff Merkley, but he withdrew from that race. The primary election, by the way, is coming up in Oregon on Tuesday, the 17th of May. Carpenter says he's running because, and I'm quoting, Oregon needs a leader with real-world experience from creating Oregon jobs to cleaning up our forests and revitalizing the forest products industry to tackling the national challenges of immigration, debt, and health care. One of the other candidates running for the Republican nomination and the chance to run against Senator Ron Wyden is from Lane County. That would be Lane County Commissioner Faye Stewart. The state of Oregon is warning consumers about doing business with a California-based Liberty One mortgage. Brad Ford has the story.
The Oregon Department of Consumer and Business Services warns consumers to steer clear of Liberty One mortgage for loan modifications.
They are not licensed and not registered in the state of Oregon.
Mark Peterson, DCBS spokesman, says the state has fined Liberty One $30,000 and shut down its website for mortgage fraud. Peterson says in 2014 and 2015, the company took money from Oregon customers and never provided the modifications. One case was especially shocking.
A couple had sent more than $8,000 to Liberty One Mortgage, and the company stopped all communications with the people.
Peterson says before you seek loan services, check out the company on the Department of Consumer and Business Services website. Brad Ford, KPNW.
All right, so Valentine's is coming up, and there are people who, for Valentine's Day, will spend it alone. But maybe they're online, and maybe they're looking for love. Well, that can be kind of dangerous because there are scammers out there looking to take advantage of you. And so you'll be going through one of the dating websites and you'll see the picture of somebody that is smoking hot. And it seems too good to be true.
They oftentimes use a stolen photo, and it's generally a very glamour shot. It's all designed to lure someone in to get them to start a conversation with them. And the conversation really is all about grooming and luring and getting them to a stage where at some point they can ask them for money and scam them for money.
Debbie Janicek with the City of Eugene's Crime Prevention Unit says the cost to those who've been scammed isn't just the loss of love. The monetary loss, on average, is pretty staggering.
The average loss per victim is about $14,000.
$14,000. If you feel you've been scammed, contact the local police department. It's 7:21. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Oregon Duck men's basketball team has lost twice to Pac-12 opponents. One of those losses was to Colorado. Last night they took out frustration on that performance by dousing the Buffs at home, winning by 20, 76-56. Elgin Cook scored 18, and Dylan Brooks, coming off his Pac-12 Player of the Week award, basically a non-factor as he fouled out with 10 points. The major question, the health of Chris Boucher, who had to leave the game late in the second half with an ankle injury. Coach Dana Altman sounded optimistic, if not wishful, in his assessment of Boucher's injury. Up the street, Oregon Ducks got help padding their first-place lodging atop the Pac-12 standings as Oregon State made an amazing comeback against a solid Utah squad. Having been down by 10, Gary Payton, the sequel, feeling it again, dropping 20 for the Beavs. NBA, Toronto Raptors snapped the Blazer 5-game winning streak as the Raptors themselves, have won 13 of the last 14. They're hot. They won 110-103. Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan combined for 59 points. Been a Super Bowl week in the Bay Area, and the buzz pretty much gets a mediocre rating. A lot of the talk centered around Peyton Manning and whether he'll retire or not. Game happens Sunday, 3:30 on CBS from Levi Stadium. Panthers 5.5-point favorites. A couple of Ducks will hopefully see the field, but Jonathan Stewart of the Panthers and TJ Ward of the Broncos, questionable both with ankle injuries. not that far a drive, about 9 hours. Only going to cost you about $5,000 a ticket. According to SeatGeek, the average price, $4,957. The most expensive sporting ticket ever. A pair of 50-yard line seats went for $20,000 a piece. Denver wins it in an upset, by the way. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW News Time 724.
KPNW weather brought to you by Mattress Mania in Albany, Eugene, Springfield, and Corvallis. Save like crazy.
Good morning. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out on those roads, we have mostly cloudy skies. Temps right now are in the upper 30s to low 40s with light winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10 and a few gusts up to 15. I'm also tracking a few spots of patchy dense fog. Now, I expect that to burn off by about 10 a.m., but we are tracking a storm system set to roll in after your lunch break. Mostly cloudy skies will continue this afternoon with highs in the mid-50s, 90% chance of showers after your lunch break. We could see about 1/3 of an inch along the I-5, a half inch along the coast, but the big story won't be the rains. It's going to be the extreme winds, especially for the coast, where once the system works its way on shore this afternoon, we could see winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour, gusts even higher on the coast. Once it works its way to the I-5 corridor this afternoon and into this evening, those winds will significantly go down, but we will see them shift to the south at about 15 to 20. Some gusts could be as high as 30. Be prepared for that. As we move into your weekend, the rain will stop, and by the time we get to early next weekend, we'll see almost perfect weather. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic Friday.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, brought to you by Builders Electric, providing smart electrical service since 1960. In some previous motivational minutes, I've talked about the different kinds of learning. It's pretty obvious that we can never learn everything possible, but think about the feelings you have inside when you learn something new or discover something exciting that you don't know. And the former basketball coach John Wooden once said, "It's what you learn, after all, that counts." How many new ideas have you learned recently that really made your life better? Did you feel great about those ideas? Because maybe those are the things that really count. Think about it. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
Today's Motivational Minute was sponsored by Builders Electric, voted the Register Guard's 2015 Reader's Choice #1 electrical contractor, providing positive service for over 55 years. That's Builders Electric, CCB 4296.
Valentine's Day is next week, and Pro Flowers is offering an amazing deal. 1 dozen assorted roses plus a free glass vase for just $19.99. And this week only, we will also include chocolates for free. Go to proflowers.com, click on the microphone in the right corner, and enter code 1515. But hurry, this incredible deal expires this Friday. Order now from Pro Flowers. You pick the delivery date, and it's guaranteed. 1 dozen stunning assorted roses, guaranteed to stay fresh and beautiful for at least 7 days for $19.99. And we'll include a vase for free. Fresh flowers, guaranteed delivery, and add-ons to complete your gift. Pro Flowers has everything you need to win Valentine's Day. But hurry, this incredible deal expires this Friday. The only way to get this amazing Valentine's Day deal is to visit proflowers.com. Click on the blue microphone in the upper right corner and enter the secret code 1515. That's proflowers.com, secret code 1515.
You'll feel the love at Guarantee in Junction City. This is Shannon Nill, inviting you to enjoy over 25 acres of selection and special sweetheart prices on cars, trucks, motorhomes, and trailers. Take a test drive and you'll head home with a long stem rose for your sweetheart. At Guarantee, we believe in sharing the love with our employees, our community, and all our friends and neighbors. Enjoy this free rose as our gift to you and your sweetheart. We're also offering special sweetheart prices on hundreds of hard-to-find cars, trucks, and SUVs. You'll love our big city selection and country savings. Plus, you'll never pay any additional dealer markup on every new vehicle on our giant lots. You'll also love over $2.7 million in markdowns on motorhomes, trailers, and fifth wheels. Buy now and you'll be ready for spring and summer camping seasons. Trade in anything and enjoy low-cost bank financing. Sweetheart savings, long stem roses, and hometown treatment. That's only at Guarantee, 5 minutes north of the Eugene Airport in Junction City.
Z's for everybody. That's kind of, I think, Sleep Train's campaign. Their mission is to get everybody sleeping well. And the great thing about it, it's so subjective. And we talk about the Tempur-Pedic and the fact that we both have Tempur-Pedics in our respective bedrooms. but you might fall in love with something completely different. The only way you're going to find out what mattress is the right one for you is, and you could just walk in and not lay your body down on one and just go, I'll take that one. It looks pretty cool. Because they have that guarantee. So that if your test lay is at your house and you find out, not feeling it so much, but it seems like a lot of effort. Go maybe take a couple minutes and maybe go a couple of times. Right now, you can take advantage of the President's Day sale, but it's not going to be going too much longer. President's Day sale is a little bit out there, so you got a little bit of time, but we're talking about 4 years interest-free, and I think that is going to appeal to a lot of people.
Yep. So you need to head on into Sleep Train and find out all the goodness they can offer you and all the savings you can get. And when it comes right down to it, though, it's all about getting a great night's sleep. Sleep Train, Corvallis, Albany, Eugene, and Springfield. Tell them Bill and Rob from the Wake Up Call sent you, please.
We'll do it live. The Wake Up Call with Holloway and London.
We'll do it live.
1120 KPNW.
This is boring as burnt toast.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Well, we've been talking about the legislature and what they've been doing during this particular short session. And joining us on the wake-up call is somebody that you got to know fairly well during the last legislative session, if you listened to this show at all. Her name is Danielle Tudor, and she joins us. She's back again here on KPNW. Danielle, always a pleasure to have you on board the show. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me again. Yeah, I do feel like this is kind of becoming a habit.
Yeah, no kidding. The legislature's in session. It's time to have Danielle on. For folks that don't know your story, you were lobbying for and pushing very hard for the increase in the statute of limitations on rape here in Oregon, which for a long time was only 2 years?
At the time of my assault, it was 3 years. And then in 1992, we changed it to 6 years. And so that's where we were when we went into the last legislative session.
All right. And if you would, just briefly kind of share your story and why it was that you got involved in this issue with the statute of limitations on rape cases.
Absolutely. In 1979, at the age of 17 as a senior in high school, I was the victim of a very violent rape by someone who became known as Portland's Jogger Rapist. And the reason that I am so passionate about the statute of limitations is because in my case, I did everything right, everything that I could have done, from reporting it to having a rape kit done to actually supplying police with a composite sketch of my attacker. So I did everything right, but eventually when they finally did apprehend him 7 years later, not only myself, but 7 other victims of his, we were all locked out of the justice system because the statute of limitations had passed. And in my thinking, a victim of rape should never have to face that and not getting justice, especially when they've done everything right and they just cannot identify who the rapist is. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, and I can't let it go until it's done.
And one of the folks that you went to war with, who is in charge of the Senate Judiciary Committee, is Floyd Przonski. You wanted it increased substantially, he not so much. And you spent a good part of the last legislative session, not only during the session, but before and after, battling with local Senator Floyd Przonski. What was that about?
Wow, that was an experience like none other, and I wasn't expecting that battle with him at all. But what had happened is we had the support in the House and in the Senate for at least 20 years. The original bill asked for 20 years or elimination. And basically, Senator Przonski intervened and said, no, we're going to do 12 years and that's it. So I kept pushing and fighting, doing shows like this just, keeping it out there that, hey, we have the support in Salem for at least 20 years. That's what we should be, that should be our compromise. Well, Senator Prozansky, in the end, got his way and passed it at 12 years. And he was on your program during the last session saying that he wanted to take, all different felonies and statutes and look at them all as a whole. And we challenged him on that because that would be quite a process. I mean, we've got a lot of statute of limitations when it comes to felony crimes. And it wasn't anything that anyone was even asked to be done. He just, said that it's always been a dream of his to look at all of them. So he said that he would only do 12 and that he wanted to convene a work group and have certified smart people in that work group and decide whether going beyond 12 years was right for Oregon or not.
All right. So we fast forward a year. There is a Senate bill that is, I guess, going to be discussed. Is it today or Monday? Monday.
It is Monday morning at 8 a.m., yes. And this is a bill that went through a work group that he decided to put together that only had a few members to it. And he did decide to just go ahead and look at the statute of limitations on rape specifically in that work group. So they only met a few times, and something that I want your listeners to know is I asked Senator Prozansky to be a part of that work group. Since I originated the legislation on the statute of limitations, I reached out to him through a letter and just said, we haven't agreed on this, but I would like to reach across the aisle here and grab your hand. I'd like to work on this with you. Let's figure this out. And basically, I got the door slammed in my face by Senator Prozansky, and it's interesting to me. One of the things that he said was, I don't want you in this work group because you will lobby for eliminating the statute of limitations. That's all you want. And I said, well, I'm a willing member here to be able to, talk with other people and listen to your side. And he just said, absolutely not. And being on your program was one of the things that really angered him. He was mad that I went to his own district and did media on this issue. And he let me know in no uncertain terms that he was angry with me and that I would not be a part of that work group. So he got his way once again on that. And so here we are with this hearing on Monday, and lo and behold, we're asking to eliminate the statute of limitations on rape. So, that's a huge win, but I would have to say Senator Prozansky is somebody that I do not understand, and I probably never will.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about, and first off, I'm sorry that, just simply because we allowed you to come on the show and actually, use your right to speak out, even though he is somebody in power, I'm sorry that ricocheted and boomeranged on you like that.
Yeah. Well, that's something that you always, when you're vocal, that's something that you always take a risk of happening. And I have every right to be vocal on the issue.
Yep.
So.
Okay, so let's talk about Senate Bill 1553. Essentially, it removes the statute of limitations for rape. Rape in the first degree, also a number of other crimes, sodomy in the first degree, unlawful sexual penetration in the first degree, sex abuse in the first degree, etc. And then the other part of this, which I find very odd, is that on this particular bill, which, you would think, okay, well, all of that pretty much goes together. It creates a new crime of assault in the third degree when a person with criminal negligence causes serious physical injury with a car.
Right.
I'm looking at that like, okay, where did that come from? What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of us that are wondering where that came from. And my guess would be this. It seems like everything in Salem is a trade-off. And my guess would be this, is that these are issues that Senator Prozansky was talking about when he mentioned that he wanted to put a work group together to look at all the statute of limitations. When in reality, I think there was a few of them that he wanted to go after, and I think what you're seeing on this bill are those that were at the top of his list of priorities. So I hate to say it, but I feel like, and certainly this is a question for Senator Prozansky, but I feel like he added these things to piggyback them onto the statute of limitations on rape because he felt confident that he could get what he wanted in a trade-off. If he went for elimination on rape, then these things that he really cared about, he could add them to that bill and be pretty confident that he's going to get those through.
All right, but I mean, what he added, I mean, there's not a lot. It's just this this thing with the car. It makes you wonder why, of all things that, I mean, it's not to say that that's not a serious thing, you know, that hitting somebody with your car, I mean, that is, you know, that does rise the level of being not good. But of all the different things that potentially they could have looked at, that one is kind of, I don't know, esoteric in some ways. I don't know. Well, anyway, but the good thing is at least, you know, you've got the chance now to to do what you had been working for so long, even though you got kind of shut out of the process by Senator Prozansky. I know the last go through that you and several others were counting votes and counting heads. What does it look like this time going through? Are you going to have the votes to get it done?
You know what? I have not gone through and done any polling in the House or the Senate this time around because this bill actually came up pretty quickly. Wasn't expecting to see it here in the short session. However, knowing the power that Senator Prozansky has and knowing that he was the only roadblock last session, I feel pretty confident it probably will get through this session because he has that much power down there. The only thing I wish he would do differently is that he would use that power fairly and wisely, and I think many times he doesn't. But one thing I do want to point out on the elimination of statute on rape, this question came up a lot from people in the community, and the concern that by doing that means anyone, you know, can come in anywhere down the road and accuse somebody of raping them without having any evidence. So it's important that your listeners know this bill does have safeguards in it so that once you get beyond the 12-year statute, which is what we have now, once you go beyond that with the elimination, there's got to be some type of corroborating evidence. And whether that evidence is having at least told someone that can corroborate your story, there's got to be something that provides that link for prosecutors to be able to move forward with that case. So, and I know that came up as I talked to people in the community. They're like, well, gee, you know, I have two sons. You know, it would be devastating if somebody came back 20 years later and accused my son of raping them, and there's no evidence, there's nothing, but yet because of the statute, they can go after them. That's not the case at all. So do want your listeners to know that there are safeguards, and I don't think we were ever after, you know, creating an open season, you know, to go after people on rape.
All right. So for folks that want more information, easy to find online. It is Senate Bill 1553. Hearings coming up on Monday in Salem. So Danielle, you've been such a fighter for this. You know, if this passes, and let's say when it passes, what do you do after that? I mean, do you just go back to being a mom and a wife and, you know, a taxpayer? What do you do after that? I mean, this has been really consuming for you for quite a while.
Yeah, it has, and I'm very involved in our rape kit backlog. I was actually invited by the Portland Police Bureau to be a part of their task force, And it's something that's required along with the grant that we got from the federal government to start moving forward with testing our backlog. So I'm very excited, that they reached out to me and asked me to be part of their task force. We're creating policy in how sexual assault cases are handled from beginning to end. So it's very exciting to be a part of that. That is at least a 3-year commitment. So I'm involved in that, working on that with Portland Police. I will be involved with the DAs in Multnomah County as well as they move forward with their grant money. So I'm sure that's going to keep me busy, and actually the whole reason, I guess, how I ended up doing what I do today is because I was a victim of rape in 1979, and my offender has a parole hearing on April 6th of this year. So I have a lot of work to do, a lot of planning, a lot of reaching out to do before we get to that parole hearing on April 6th.
All right. Danielle, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Let us know, keep us informed on, how this rolls through. Hopefully it's going to make its way through not only the Senate, but also the House, ends up getting signed into law. It would be a great win, not just for you, but for rape victims here in Oregon who basically have been shut out of the system over an arbitrary number of years. So
exactly.
Danielle, thanks again for reaching out to us. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you again soon.
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, you take care. Danielle Tudor joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. It is 7:44. Coming up next, John Cruz.
With our eye on the stock tickers, this is the Wake Up Call Business Report on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. It's the most watched piece of economic data, the government's monthly jobs report. The data is out showing slower jobs growth, and stocks are lower as a result. Here are the numbers. 151,000 jobs were created in January. That is less than what analysts were expecting. The unemployment rate dropping to an almost 8-year low of 4.9%. The slower rate of job growth is still enough to push the unemployment rate down, and that's what matters to the Federal Reserve. LinkedIn shares are getting hammered this morning. They're down around 40% after forecasting first quarter and full year revenue that fell short of estimates. There are signs of weakness in sales of advertising and marketing tools. JCPenney said that it is pursuing the sale of its home office building in Plano, Texas to help pay down debt and cut expenses. While unloading real estate has become more common among retailers recently, the strategy may be particularly necessary for JCPenney. The department store chain has debt of almost 3 times its equity. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Tired of long wait times and high prices at your local boat repair shop? The Boat Dock LLC Marine Repair in Springfield has the fastest turnover. With state-of-the-art test equipment and on-site test tank, the jobs are done right the first time. From simple tune-ups and water pumps to complete repowers on all types of marine power boats, the Boat Dock LLC is the shop to visit at 1252 30th Street in Springfield. A Better Business Bureau accredited business. Visit their website at eugeneboatrepair.com. That's eugeneboatrepair.com.
Valentine's Day is next week, and Pro Flowers is offering an amazing deal. 100 stunning blooms of love plus a free glass vase for just $19.99. And this week only, we will also include chocolates for free. Go to proflowers.com, click on the blue radio microphone in the upper right corner, and enter the secret code 5000. But hurry, this incredible deal expires this Friday. Order now from Pro Flowers to get huge savings, plus pick the delivery date and it's guaranteed. 100 colorful blooms of love sent fresh from the fields, guaranteed to stay fresh and beautiful for at least 7 full days. That's 100 stunning blooms of love, a free glass vase, and free chocolates this week only for just $19.99. And this incredible offer expires this Friday. Valentine's Day is next week. Don't wait. The only way to get this amazing deal is to visit proflowers.com. Click on the blue microphone in the upper right corner and enter the secret code 5000. That's proflowers.com, secret code 5000.
KPNW weather with Chris Nation. Brought to you by Mattress Mania, where you save like crazy.
Good morning. We've got some patchy dense fog off and on out there. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. Temps right now in the upper 30s to low 40s with light winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10 and a few gusts up to 15. But we are tracking a storm system set to roll in anytime after your lunch break this afternoon with a 90% chance of showers. We will see the mostly cloudy skies continue out there with highs in the mid-50s. But we will see about 1/3 of an inch along the I-5 as well as a ½ inch on the coast. But the big story are going to be the winds as the system comes on shore this afternoon. We're expecting winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour along the coast with gusts higher. The good news is once it makes its way to the I-5 this afternoon into this evening, those winds will significantly go down, but they will be breezy out of the south at 15 to 20. Some gusts up to 30 are possible. Now, we are tracking a fairly dry weekend, and by the time we get to early next week, sunshine will dominate, and the temps will be back in the 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a great day.
This is a heavy dose of hard-hitting wake-up call. This is the wake-up call.
For one thing, thank you so much.
Holloway in London and the wake-up call.
Yeah, I love what you do.
On News Radio 1120, KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. We were so taken aback by, well, not taken aback, but, doing our stuff that we didn't mention that it was a great sunrise this morning. And now I'm just going to tell you missed it. Joining us from north of here, north of these here parts, from lovely Wenatchee in the Apple Valley up in Washington, it's none other than John Cruz, host of Northwestern Outdoors, which you'll hear on this fine radio station, 8 to 7 o'clock this coming, or make it at 6 to 7 o'clock this coming Saturday morning, and 8 to 9 o'clock on Sunday here on KPNW. John, welcome back.
Good morning. I hate to tell you this. I nearly missed our appointment this morning.
Nearly missed our appointment. How so? What happened?
Police work got in the way. Actually, some really good police work. Some gal, unfortunately, was suicidal. She overdosed over in a neighboring city. She drove into our city into a park, crashed into a tree, which was good because it prevented her from going into the river. And 3 officers had to break the window out of the car, get her out, and did CPR on her for 9 minutes, and it looks like she's going to live.
So were you one of the folks doing the CPR?
No, I just supervised.
Oh, you supervised the CPR?
I supervised. Actually, I got there. By the time I got there, the ambulance had already arrived. But no, these 3 officers did great. It's not often you bring them back, but they did. They brought her back, and it looks like she's going to be okay.
Wow. Well, good work.
Good start to the morning.
Yeah, that's probably a positive way to start things, knowing that you potentially, or knowing that you did save somebody's life.
Well, I didn't, but those 3 guys did, and I was there to go ahead and see that, so that was great.
All right, so you got to at least bask in the glory, sort of, kind of.
Actually, I was kind of, cheerleading for them. I think they deserve that. Yeah,
no doubt. Well, very cool. All right, well, gosh, everything else then just really kind of becomes sort of moot, doesn't it?
After that, it kind of does, but except, of course, for our conversation.
Oh. 2 high points to my day. Help save a life, and then I talk to Bill. Okay.
That's right.
All right, good deal. Let's see, the show. What are you going to do on the show this weekend?
Well, we've got kind of a hybrid best of. As you know, we've been on the road a lot lately at sportsman shows and SHOT Shows, so we're rebroadcasting some interviews from national parks and national monuments. So we're going to give you a conversation we had at Norris Geisen Basin in Yellowstone National Park. We'll bring you audio from when we visited Crater Lake National Park and also the Oregon Caves National Monument. And then we'll mix that up with some new short features, our extended Max Minute, upcoming events, and also our Sportsman Spotlight feature.
All right. So you're, I'm trying to remember when you went to Crater Lake. Did you actually go down and take the little boat trip?
No, I didn't. I missed out on that, and we've talked about that before, and that's definitely something I'm going to be doing. I'm heading back there to Crater Lake, or at least Diamond Lake, which is right in the neighborhood in April. So if the boat's running, I plan on going then.
Did you, I'm trying to remember the segment. I'm trying to remember if you mentioned that, I think it was kokanee that they have in Crater Lake. Is it kokanee or?
I'm thinking trout, but Crater Lake's not known for fantastic fishing, but there are some fish to be had, but there's only a few select places you can fish for them.
Right, and the deal is that back in like the 1920s or something like that, somebody had the bright idea, hey, you know what we ought to do to get more people here? Let's plant some fish in it. So they took essentially the purest lake in the world and polluted it by putting fish in it. But the deal is you can go down and fish for those things. You don't need a license, and as many of them as you can haul out, you can essentially catch. Did you know that?
You know, I didn't know that. And that's one of the great things about talking to you every week, Bill. I always walk away learning something.
Oh, yeah, right. Now you're just sucking up. Okay, so this weekend, things to do. What do you got for us?
Sportsman Show. Eugene Boat and Sportsman Show is running today through Sunday right up until the Super Bowl starts. And then this coming Wednesday, the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show kicks off at the Expo Center in Portland. That also runs through next Sunday. And that is like the biggest show in the entire Northwest, one of the biggest shows in the country. And they are having their really popular ammo sale again this year. They started that last year. They're bringing it back again this year. That was a real popular place for people to be, buying lots of ammo at good prices.
All right. So just keep that in mind. Just know that's going to be the case. It's at the Expo in Portland. If you're going to go out of the area. And by the way, we're going to have some family 4-pack of Eugene Boat and Sportsman Show tickets we're going to give away to here in just a second. Any other things that you're suggesting for folks?
A couple things. Number one, it's definitely a good time for steelhead fishing. Winter steelhead are in area streams. There's still some summer steelhead in some of the streams, too. A few places I suggest would be heading south to the Coos River Basin. You can fish the Umpqua. You can fish the Rogue in terms of the lower part or the middle part. The North Fork of the Coquille River is another good bet. And, you know, if you haven't caught the steelhead before, that once you catch one, you will be hooked on the sport. They are excellent fighting fish. Absolutely love them. One other thing, if you're looking for a job, you can be a park ranger this summer. Oregon State Parks is hiring seasonal park rangers and assistant park rangers for the summer, and now is the time to apply. Simply go to their website to find out more information.
All right, sounds good. By the way, as far as fish in Crater Lake, rainbow trout and kokanee.
Well, there you go.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
There were, I guess, go ahead.
No, I was just going to compliment you.
6 species originally introduced. And then the only 2 that survive are the rainbows and the kokanees. Not only is fishing, according to Crater Lake National Park on their website, not only allowed, it's encouraged, and there's no limit. The only rule is you have to use artificial bait. So there you go. Anyway, well, John, have a great weekend. We appreciate you joining us on the Wake Up Call, and we'll talk to you next Friday.
Have a great week. Take care.
All right, you too. Enjoy. Okay, coming up, we'll have more of the Eugene Boat and Sportsman Show tickets to give away. Family 4-pack coming up in the 8 o'clock hour here on KPNW.
Thank goodness it's Sherry's Prime Rib Friday. It's time to treat yourself with a premium cut of succulent prime rib. Choose from 2 sizes for big or small appetites. We serve it up herb-crusted or blackened, both tender and juicy, with a bottle of Northwest wine that's only half price. However you order your Sherry's Prime Rib, you'll be thankful it's Friday. Come in tonight with family and friends and see what's new at Sherry's Cafe and Pies.
Get ready to satisfy your sweet tooth. That's right, it's chocolate giveaway time at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. This February, get a premium box of chocolates for every 1,000 points. Offer good while supplies last. Visit threeriverscasino.com for all the details. Then on Valentine's Day, let Cupid hit you with a cash arrow at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. Join us on February 14th for our Sweethearts Hot Seat drawings. Every hour from 3 till 10 p.m., you could win a share of $6,000 in cash and free play. Visit threeriverscasino.com to find out more. Let us show you the love with cash and chocolate giveaways at Three Rivers Casino Resort and see why things are luckier here.
You know the Tannerite Sports Outlet carries Tannerite brand exploding targets, but Tannerite here in Eugene is so much more. Reloading supplies, tactical gear, magazines, accessories, and if you're worried about finding ammo, Tannerite has bulk quantities of the most popular calibers that'll keep you shooting affordably. Need it and can't find it? Tannerite staff is going to help you locate it, even if it's something they don't carry. Yes, Tannerite's the home for exploding targets, but from tactical gear to ammo, it's the Tannerite Sports Outlet, just off I-5 across from LCC.
They say I'm a bad kid. A charity case. A troublemaker. Worthless. Just a stupid mistake. I don't think I'm a lost cause. I'm just a kid.
Youth Villages believes that no child is a lost cause. Not a single one. Because a stable, loving family can help any child succeed. And we have an 80% success rate overall that proves it. If you agree, find out how you can help at youthvillages.org.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. Debt levels matter. The more you have, the more difficult it is to service. Structure matters too. The lower the interest rate, the easier debt is to carry. Take a $35,000 car loan over 5 years. At 9%, the payment is about $725 a month. At 2%, it's $610. For 7 years, it's $480 and $380 respectively. The same principle applies to government and businesses too. Now, all debt is not created equal in other ways. A loan with a fixed interest rate is very different from one with a variable rate. When rates go up, variable obligations can quickly bury you as interest costs and the required payments rise. For government, if interest rates rise more quickly than tax receipts, the situation will quickly become untenable. Think Greece, for example. All this is from the simple point of view of a consumer, a politician, or a taxpayer. But the problems investors encounter are more complicated, particularly if you lend or borrow in a foreign currency. Here's the nugget. As a consumer, you're always better off with a fixed-rate loan, regardless of the payment difference. That's because you will know exactly what you need to service it, can plan how to do so, and thus have much less risk of getting in significant or unexpected trouble. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
Fox News, fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW Eugene Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Hillary Clinton felt the burn in Iowa, barely winning there. And now one poll has the Democratic race virtually tied nationally. A Quinnipiac survey out today has her lead down to 2 points.
I represent, I hope, ordinary Americans.
Bernie Sanders called Clinton part of the establishment at last night's MSNBC debate, hitting her again for taking Wall Street donations.
I think it's time to end the very artful smear that you and your campaign have been carrying out.
He questioned Sanders' record on gun control. A crane came crashing down on a New York City street this morning, killing one person, seriously injuring 2 more. The unemployment rate has dropped to its lowest level since 2008. Even as hiring slowed down last month. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the jobless rate now stands at 4.9%, but the labor market only added 151,000 jobs in January, far below expectations. There were losses in mining, transportation, and private educational services, and gains in retail and food services. The labor force participation rate rose slightly, and hourly wages went up by 12 cents to $25.39. Dave.
Concern about all that as the Dow dropping, sell-off now, the Dow down 173 points. Super Bowl 50 is just 2 days away, and ahead of the Broncos-Panthers game, there's a lot of tickets available online. Fox's Jared Max live in San Francisco.
Yeah, about 1,500 to 1,600 tickets available, according to StubHub, Dave, which says Super Bowl 50 will produce the most expensive average ticket price for a single event since StubHub came to be in 2000.
Cheapest price you're going to get in is just around $3,000 right now.
Is that a nosebleed seat?
That is a nosebleed seat. The most expensive ticket we've sold was for $27,000, and that
is that on like Ron Rivera's lap?
Yes, you get to wear his headset for the second half of the game.
Glenn Lehrman, global head of communications for StubHub. He told me the biggest surprise this week: how many more fans have purchased tickets from the Carolinas than from Colorado, Dave?
Thank you, Jared. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
There comes a time in each of our lives, a day that defines us. Will you be ordinary or extraordinary? Will you be humdrum or will you be a hero? That day is today. The day you choose to become an ODOT-approved driver and instructor. Hey folks, Driver Ed here, just practicing my recruitment speech because I want you to help me save lives. Did you know that teens who take Driver Ed go on to be much better drivers? That means fewer crashes and safer roads. But to reach everyone across the state, we need more instructors. So consider joining me, Driver Ed. You'll gain valuable teaching experience and earn some extra money. And with less than 9 weeks for training, including convenient online classes, you can be a ready-to-hire hero in no time. Allowing for cape fittings, of course. So choose to be extraordinary. Become an ODOT-approved Driver Ed instructor. Get started at whydrivewithed.com. See you down the road, heroes. A message from ODOT.
In addition to Bernie Sanders catching up to Hillary Clinton in one new national poll, Donald Trump has a big lead in New Hampshire. Donald, he reigns on top in the Republican race.
We have a lot of people that have traveled from all over the country to go up and help out.
Trump, also in the polls, has Marco Rubio closer on his heels. Rubio surged to second place. John Kasich hopes he surges too in Tuesday's primary.
We have built over a long period of time the foundation, built on granite, not built on sand, not based on celebrity, and I believe it'll pay off.
The next Republican debate is tomorrow night. 7 candidates, but not Carly Fiorina. 2012 nominee Mitt Romney tweeted that she should be included in the debate. She got more votes in Iowa than Chris Christie or John Kasich. Amid all the worry about the Zika virus, labeled a global health emergency, Brazilian researchers have discovered the virus in urine and saliva samples, meaning Zika's ability to infect people through bodily fluids must be further studied. There was a case in the U.S. of Zika being transmitted sexually. The bulk of the outbreak is in Latin America and the Caribbean, and while the virus is mild for most of us, it's a big concern for pregnant women linked to birth defects, babies born with abnormally small heads. Have you ever heard of the monkey who acts like a cowboy riding a dog? Animal rights activists have, and they don't like it in Minnesota, hoping to stop his show tonight.
He's famous around the world. Whiplash, the cowboy monkey, dressed like a cowboy, sitting in a saddle, riding a Scottish border collie, a big draw and a favorite with children. But Tim Shields of the Minnesota Federated Humane Society wants the city to stop the act.
We think this is an act that potentially causes this monkey brain damage.
But the city says the show will go on unless someone comes up with some actual proof that this is a case of animal cruelty. John Saucier, Fox News.
We'll get on Wall Street, a big sell-off today. The Dow down on more than 190 points. But the price of oil, not moving much, holding steady around $31 a barrel. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
I must say that dog must be a really harsh ride if it's causing brain damage.
If they pick it, they need to get the puppy monkey baby out there. You'll know what that's about coming
Puppy
up.
monkey baby.
Super Bowl. 11:20 KPNW. Welcome in. It's a Friday, Feb 5, 2016. Today you got a pretty day. It's like the tale of 2 days. Then afternoon rain coming in with really the big story, the wind that's going to be hitting the valley floor. 40 to 50 mile an hour winds out there on the Oregon coast. You've been out there?
To the Oregon
when
coast?
It's been windy, like that windy?
Yeah. It's not fun.
You definitely want to batten down. 100% chance of rain tonight. Watch. 40 for the overnight low. And then 2 decent days heading into a decent week. By the way, condolences. Maurice White lost his battle with Parkinson's at the age of 74. 90 million records sold.
Wow.
They've been around for a while. And I don't know, doing dances at weddings and events where there's multiple age groups and generations. Earth, Wind, and Fire is one of those bands that you can put out there and everybody's going to dance to it. It's good time, happy music that people love. So Maurice White, dead at the age of 74, way too young. All right. That's the buzzkill story, but now we have a little pick-me-up, right?
Yeah. We're going to give somebody a family 4-pack of tickets to the Eugene Boat and Sportsman Show. It's complimentary admission. Get you in tonight or today. Actually starts at noon and goes until 9. So if you wanted to, if you don't have to work today and you want to just like, hey, I'll do it today because, the crowds will be smaller because it's noon on Friday and everybody else is at work.
How about we do a little Know the Show?
Let me finish.
Okay.
They're also good for Saturday and also good for Sunday. All right, so you want to do a little Know the
Okay,
Show?
so if you heard us talk to Professor Sachs, he He was clenched and had things in a wad because of what? Why was he upset today?
Yeah, that's right.
What was upsetting our little Professor Alan Sachs? 541-45 KP. I mean, I haven't seen him like this. He was starting to throw stuff.
He was livid. Absolutely livid.
541-45 KPNW, 1-888-KPNW, 888-5769 is how it works out. Every one of our lines was lit. Now it's down to one. KPNW.
Well, how are you this morning?
We're fine. How are you this morning?
I am fabulous because his problem was he got a parking ticket at his university.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. He got a parking ticket. So, which one of the 15 are you?
Whichever one you tell me I am.
Well, no, what I'm asking is what's your name?
My name is Joshua.
Joshua. Guess what? We have family 4 tickets for you.
That is fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah, now you can be here by 5 o'clock today to pick these up, right?
No problem.
Okay. All right. Good deal. So, congratulations, and thanks for calling this morning, and thanks for listening, and thanks for actually listening this morning, knowing the quality of the show and continuing until the 8 o'clock hour. I'm impressed here. It's just like, wow, you actually listened all morning long? This
Every day.
Has no life. Anyway.
You're right on target on that.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, hang on a second. We'll be right with you, okay?
Join us in that conversation as well. 8:09 news coming up on 1120 KPNW.
New Year's resolutions generally fail, and they fail because they aren't fun. So here's a resolution that's easy to keep. If you've never done it, make this the year you visit Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. How hard is it to keep this promise to yourself? I resolve to eat at least one Burrito Amigos bacon breakfast burrito with 2 types of bacon. As Burrito Amigos' biggest fan, I intend to do this at least weekly. Resolve to have an Audibata experience and try some on a torta. Tasty stuff. Or, if you're of the vegetarian persuasion, promise yourself this year to try a yammy taco with yams and a special secret recipe spicy guacamole. If you're going that route, the Amigos rock the potato taquitos. And their tofu burritos have tofu. So keep this promise to yourself. Visit a Burrito Amigos. And this year, you'll make a new friend. A new friend who'll cook and clean up the dishes. That's a friend. Burrito Amigos in Eugene and Springfield.
Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services.
If you owe for back taxes, payroll taxes, or if you've not filed, the IRS will search you out. They are the most powerful collection agency in the world. One call to Wall & Associates, and your tax problems can be solved. Listen.
I was worried I would lose my house. Wall met with me in person.
I was scared. Wall & Associates got my levy released in 48 hours.
They settled my back tax debt for a fraction of what I owed.
At Wall, we solve tax problems. Call 800-467-6127. That's 800-467-6127. You always speak with a live person.
I never had to talk to the IRS again.
Wall stopped my wage garnishment.
Wall solved my back tax problems for a fraction of what I owed.
Call Wall & Associates now for a free face-to-face consultation. Call 800-467-6127. That's 800-467-6127. 800-467-6127.
Ramjack has your foundation solution. Ramjack can fix that. CCB 146906.
Today's top stories. In depth.
This is the Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Details of the indictment against Eamon Bundy and the others involved in the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge takeover have been released. Brad Ford has the details.
The indictment says Ammon Bundy, the 4 people currently at the refuge, and 11 other people conspired to use guns to take over the refuge. On October 5th, they traveled to Harney County to tell the sheriff they planned extreme civil unrest. Then January 2nd, they were armed when they took over the refuge. When they kept law enforcement off the property, they prevented them from doing their job, which is the basis of the charges against them. They also threatened violence against police and threatened the residents of Harney County. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
Workers from Eugene Parks and Rec Open Spaces Division were surprised to find the work of the volunteers there, well, ruined.
Staff found that over 100 of the 200 trees that we had planted
with the help of volunteers along Amazon Creek, had actually been ripped out of the ground and thrown into the creek.
Kelly Darnell of Eugene Parks and Rec says the trees were planted between Oak Patch Road and City View Street near West 11th Avenue by more than 50 volunteers with the Eugene Metro Rotary Club and the U of O's Holden Leadership Center. Surprisingly, this has happened before.
A very similar incident happened a couple years ago. So we took a big break from trying to actually restore the native habitat in this area and tried it again here a couple weeks ago in honor of Martin Luther King Day of Service.
The total loss estimated at $3,000. That was, by the way, taxpayer dollars. The trees were planted to make good on a state permit for the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System under the Federal Clean Water Act. The trees have to be replaced, but there is no timetable now for that. EPD is investigating. Raise a tax, then wash your hands of the outcome. That's the Oregonian way of doing things. And the legislature is planning on doing just exactly that. So, there is a bill in the legislature that would double the statewide lodging tax. Now, that request to double the amount is being made by Tracktown USA to fund, in part, the 2021 World Track and Field Championships coming to Eugene. They want a $25 million subsidy for the state, and it would be funded by that increase. However, it's an election year, and it looks bad for the legislature to increase taxes and then pass the money on to a favored group because that's called, well, cronyism. So, Eugene Representative Nancy Nathanson, always looking to solve a problem, is taking a new tact, increasing the lodging tax and then letting Travel Oregon, the state's tiny marketing arm, decide who will actually get the money. In this fashion, neither the legislature nor the governor are involved in the growing controversy over funding for the event. Well, it wasn't us. It was Travel Oregon. As for Travel Oregon, the board will decide if Tracktown gets the money or not. And you may be asking, well, who makes up and how is the board made up for Travel Oregon? Oh, they're all governor appointees. For the record, Travel Oregon has never, in its history, ever allocated anything close to $25 million. House Bill 4146 gets an initial public hearing in the House Revenue Committee today during the short session, which means there will be very little debate. And this is how democracy happens here in Oregon. Speaking of the legislature, Oregon lawmakers are considering a change to the background check system for buying a gun, making it more difficult for law-abiding citizens to actually buy one. Bradford reports some call it a loophole. Even though it's not a loophole, it was actually written into the law specifically.
If the background check doesn't return in 3 days, the retailer can complete the sale. Sharon Risher's mother was killed at the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina by a man who got his gun that way.
Because of a flaw in our background check systems.
Kevin Sterrett with the Oregon Firearms Federation says it is not a flaw. He says lawmakers intended it to exist.
The tiny and insufficient safeguards in the current law are not loopholes. Every right is not a loophole that needs to be closed.
Sterrett says it's there to protect the right of the gun buyer when the state can't provide or support a system to complete gun background checks. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW News.
Oregon legislators are also considering, get this, increasing taxes on vaping products. Owners of vape stores like Spencer Knowles of Bend says it'll drive customers to the internet and out of their stores and, of course, hurt their businesses.
The 50% tax proposed on vaporizing products, I believe, will price vaporizing products above tobacco itself.
Courtney Dressler with the Oregon Medical Association could care less. She says the goal is to just make it too expensive for kids.
We're hoping if raising this price will allow the youth and teens not to get these products.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's all about the kids, not about getting more money for the state. Studies show that while vaping helps adults quit smoking, for teens, it can turn them on to smoking. It's against the law for anyone younger than 18 to buy vaping products in Oregon. Well, Governor Kate Brown and Secretary of State Gene Atkins says more than 4,300 Oregonians have been registered to vote under a unique Oregon law that's been dubbed Motor Voter. The system registers voters after they obtain or renew their driver's license permit or identification card. Brown and Atkins on Thursday released the first tally of how many people have been registered to vote under the law since it took effect January 1st of this year. Atkins says the results so far, 4,300 new voters, are impressive considering Oregon had previously been adding half as many new voters every month on average. Another 17,000 will be registered, or registered voters have had their updated addresses checked under the new system, which means more ballots will reach their rightful owners. Oh, look who's here. It's Sylvia Hayes. Remember her? She's the one that's being investigated by the feds. She happens to be former Governor John Kitzhaber's companion. For some reason, they're no longer calling her his fiancée. What's up with that? She tells K2 News that she thought it would be over by now, that being the investigation.
I had no idea that the investigation would go on this long. I think there was a part of me that was like, okay, let's get that wrapped up and done and then move back on.
The investigation is looking into whether her private consulting firm benefited because of her connection to the governor. And she says she doesn't know where it'll lead.
I so wish that I could say something about this. I don't know. I don't know the status of it.
Because the investigation is pending, she said she wouldn't answer questions about whether she did anything wrong. What this is a PR campaign to try and rehabilitate her image so she can get her consulting firm, which, by the way, she still owns and which still does business, up off the ground and continuing to make hundreds of thousands of dollars for her and, of course, the governor. Bend businessman Sam Carpenter announced his candidacy for the U.S. Senate on Thursday as the Republican seeks the party nomination to unseat longtime incumbent Senator Ron Wyden. In a news release announcing the campaign, the telecommunications executive and business turnaround specialist, as he calls himself, founded Centratel, a private 911 call center 31 years ago in Bend. He also operates a number of small firms related to business rescue. Carpenter announced 3 years ago that he was going to run for Senator Jeff Merkley's seat. Then he withdrew from that race. The Oregon primary election, by the way, is Tuesday, May 17th. Carpenter says he's running because, quote, Oregon needs a leader with real-world experience, from creating jobs to cleaning up our forests and revitalizing the forest products industry to tackling the national challenges of immigration, debt, and health care. Lane County Commissioner Faye Stewart also running to the nomination for the privilege of running against Ron Wyden. Well, the state of Oregon is warning consumers about doing business with a California-based company called Liberty One Mortgage. Brad Ford has the story.
The Oregon Department of Consumer and Business Services warns consumers to steer clear of Liberty One Mortgage for loan modifications.
They are not licensed and not registered in the state of Oregon.
Mark Peterson, DCBS spokesman, says the state has fined Liberty One $30,000 and shut down its website for mortgage fraud. Peterson says in 2014 and 2015, the company took money from Oregon customers and never provided the modifications. One case was especially shocking.
A couple had sent more than $8,000 to Liberty One Mortgage, and the company stopped all communications with the people.
Peterson says before you seek loan services, check out the company on the Department of Consumer and Business Services website. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Let's look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Oregon Duck men's basketball team lost twice to Pac-12 opponents so far. One of those losses to Colorado. Last night they took out that first loss in frustration by dousing the Buffs at home, winning by 20, 76-56. Elgin Cook scored 18. Dylan Brooks coming off his Pac-12 Player of the Week award, largely a non-factor, 10 points before fouling out. The major question mark of the game was the health of Chris Boucher, who had to leave the game in the second half with an ankle injury. Coach Dana Altman sounded optimistic, if not wishful, and his assessment of Boucher's injury is not serious. Up the street, the Oregon Ducks got little help padding their first place lodging atop the Pac-12 standings. Oregon State made an amazing comeback against a solid Utah squad, having been down by 10, finally winning 71-69. Gary Payton, the sequel, feeling it again, dropping 20 for the Beavs. And speaking of Oregon State, their former quarterback Seth Collins has found a new school to play football at, Northern Illinois. NBA, the Toronto Raptors snapped the Blazers' 5-game win streak as they have won 13 of the last 14 themselves. Last night it was a team from Canada winning 110-103. Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan combining for 59. So it's been Super Bowl week in the Bay Area, and the buzz gets a mediocre rating. A lot of the talk centering around Peyton Manning and the big question whether he'll retire after the game or not. Game happens Sunday, 3:30 on CBS from Levi Stadium. Panthers are 5.5-point favorites. A couple of Ducks will hopefully see the field, but both Jonathan Stewart of the Panthers and TJ Ward of the Broncos, questionable with ankle injuries. Not that far a drive, about 9 hours. If you want to check out the Super Bowl, the big game in person, it'll put you back about $5,000 a ticket. SeatGeek saying that the average price is $4,957. The most expensive sporting ticket ever. A pair of 50-yard line seats already went for $20,000 a piece. I'm calling it right here. Denver wins in an upset. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW News Time 8:23.
The most accurate forecast now. We have weather every 10 minutes during Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. We've got some patchy dense fog off and on out there. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. Temps right now in the upper 30s to low 40s with light winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10 and a few gusts up to 15. But we are tracking a storm system set to roll in anytime after your lunch break this afternoon with a 90% chance of showers. We will see the mostly cloudy skies continue out there with highs in the mid-50s. But we will see about 1/3 of an inch along the I-5 as well as a ½ inch on the coast. But the big story are going to be the winds as the system comes on shore this afternoon. We're expecting winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour along the coast with gusts higher. The good news is once it makes its way to the I-5 this afternoon into this evening, those winds will significantly go down, but they will be breezy out of the south at 15 to 20. Some gusts up to 30 are possible. Now, we are tracking a fairly dry weekend, and by the time we get to early next week, sunshine will dominate, and the temps will be back in the 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a great day.
Wildlife, boating, fishing, camping, and more. 43rd Annual Eugene Boat and Sportsman Show is back at the Lane County Fairgrounds Friday through Sunday, February 5th through the 7th. Get up close and personal with the Great Bear Show's 400-pound giants. Meet Gold Rush star Dakota Fred. Revel in Tough Shed's Ultimate Man Cave. See the hottest wake surfing boats, kayaks, SUPs, and accessories. The Seven Feathers Big Game Room features record trophies and head and horns competition. See the latest products, hunting and fishing guides, ammo, giant fish tank, and more.
For kids?
There's the Pepsi Live Trout Pond, archery range, shooting gallery, climbing wall, and the zip line. Jody Smith and Dan Clore had an impressive list of speakers in the Sportsman's Theater. Enter to win a Gold Quest adventure with Dakota Fred, a guaranteed trailer, and buy 'em outdoor prizes. The first 100 adults will win a free scratcher from the Oregon Lottery. And every adult patron will get a subscription to Northwest Sportsman magazine. Take advantage of low show prices on all the latest model boats at Lane County's premier boat display and sale. All of this at the KUZI Boat and Sportsman Show, Lane County Fairgrounds, presented by Bimart, February 5th through the 7th. See you there.
Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson, co-host of Real Estate Today. Kurt Large and Evergreen Roofing is my go-to company if I need to understand a roofing system, how to maintain the roof, should it be replaced, and if it is to be replaced, what should be done. He is absolutely the expert's expert. Evergreen Roofing is my go-to company.
To find out more about Evergreen Roofing, just go to their website, evergreenroofing.com.
This Saturday, Subaru of Bend invites you to Hoodoo's 34th Annual Winter Carnival. The family-style winter celebration is Hoodoo's premier event of the season. At Hoodoo's Winter Carnival, there's something for everyone. A pie eating contest, snow sculptures, dummy downhill, torchlight parade, live bluegrass music by Alder Street Band, and fireworks to end the evening. No other mountain offers this much fun on the snow in one place. Make your ski season count and celebrate everything winter at Hoodoo's Winter Carnival this weekend. Presented by Subaru of Bend.
You'll feel the love at Guarantee in Junction City. This is Shannon Nill inviting you to enjoy over 25 acres of selection and special sweetheart prices on cars, trucks, motorhomes, and trailers. Take a test drive and you'll head home with a long stem rose for your sweetheart. At Guarantee, we believe in sharing the love with our employees, our community, and all our friends and neighbors. Enjoy this free rose as our gift to you and your sweetheart. We're also offering special sweetheart prices on hundreds of hard-to-find cars, trucks, and SUVs. You'll love our big city selection and country savings. Plus, you'll never pay any additional dealer markup on every new vehicle on our giant lots. You'll also love over $2.7 million in markdowns on motorhomes, trailers, and fifth wheels. Buy now and you'll be ready for spring and summer camping seasons. Trade in anything and enjoy low cost bank financing. Sweetheart Savings, Long Stem Roses, and Hometown Treatment. That's only at Guarantee, 5 minutes north of the Eugene Airport in Junction City.
Mornings are a little different with a wake-up call.
You're an embarrassment to nature. Do you know that?
Holloway and London. Yeah. On News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Sweetheart, don't look at me like that. It's going to be amazing.
This is a disaster. Who's the genius who puts a girl in heels on a subway grate?
Miss Monroe, eat a Snickers.
Why?
You get a little cranky when you're hungry. Better?
Much better.
This scene will never make the cut. Morons.
Kind of loses a little bit over the radio, but one of the commercials there's a segment of the millions who will be watching the big game, who genuinely care about football and who wins, but millions will be in their seats and in their couches when the commercials play, watching the commercials. If you didn't know, one 30-second commercial or spot will cost $5 million. Works out to be $166,000 a second. Who makes the best use of that investment and who's simply wasting their money? To help us answer that question, we have Darren Weiss, owner of Weiss Media, a local ad agency, and Josh Doherty, a commercial actor from Hollywood, who's also my brother and now on the wake-up call. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you?
You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel this morning, aren't you?
Well, it's basically whoever will say yes after about 20 no's. No, I'm kidding. All right, so I think pretty much you can categorize and label all the spots. There's kind of a PSA, public service message to a lot of them. And I think there's also the cute, adorable animals, but I don't know that you can put the puppy monkey baby in that category. Did you guys happen to see that commercial? The puppy.
Hi, Darren, did you happen to see that?
What's that?
I'm just curious if Darren happened to see that. I hadn't seen that one. There were so many commercials to wade through. I didn't get to see that one.
Darren, did you see it?
I didn't see it. By the way, just a quick correction. It's Weiss Media Group.
Weiss. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah, that might be my nomination for the clunker of the campaign. It's one of those things where it's from the diaper down, it's a human baby, and then the midriff is, I think, the monkey, and then it's got like a puppy head, like a.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
And play the audio from it. Do you have the audio up where you can play it from? The audio is even creepier when you hear it.
Okay. Oh wait, that's let's see here.
I'll listen to that Drake spot over and over again. I like.
I played
spot.
that. I played it off the computer. It's catchy, I guess, is about all you can say. This might be. Well, let's talk about the commercials as far as what stood out. Darren, did one when you think about all the commercials that you saw, was there one that stood out in a positive light?
You know, I think the usual, the use of animals only in a good way, like the Doritos dogs, where you've got the dogs outside a supermarket and they want their fix of Doritos and they're trying to figure out how to get in there. And then when they're actually going through the check stand, the checker is just hilarious and also adds a bit of reality to the whole thing. And yeah, I think the problem with a lot of Super Bowl ads is they forget that kids are watching this with their parents. And go ahead.
Well, when you say that, which one comes to mind?
Well, I'm really hoping that the PETA ad is not going to air. I'm hoping that was just internet only, even though it looks like
it's banned.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it was. I think one of those that they knew was not going to be okayed for air and was going to be something that we'd be talking about like we are now.
Yeah, I think they should tag that one with "We're bleeping animals."
Okay.
I mean, here they are with two couples on a split screen, and they're having relations, and it was just ridiculous. I couldn't even believe it.
So, Josh, which one kind of stood out to you?
As a clunker?
And stood out in a positive way.
Oh, Well, I really love the Audi spot with the David Bowie Starman. Audi just always has such great, thoughtful advertising. I think there's not a lot of copy. In other words, there's not a lot of dialogue. It's just telling a story through really compelling visuals and with a great soundtrack, of course. And everybody who is a music fan or a fan of popular culture is still kind of, I think, blown away that we lost David Bowie. So hearing his wonderful tune there was just great and kind of got me a little bit in the gut there. But there were a couple great spots. I have to agree. I think the PETA spot is just, I almost don't even want to talk about it because I feel like it doesn't necessitate viewing. But I think PETA lost me a number of years ago when they came out with their Holocaust on a plate advertisement, when they were kind of comparing the Holocaust to buying a chicken.
I think they lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
They're kind of still out there.
That's exactly right. It's become an ideology that is so political. It's not just about, we don't want to eat meat. It's about, it's almost this kind of religious fervor, and I just have no room for them at all. So yeah, I think their spot was just really a desperate attempt to sell their ideology. And anyway, yeah, that was probably my least favorite spot. But the Ryan Reynolds spot I thought was really cute.
Ryanville.
Yeah. The girls in that spot were charming and cute as can be, and that little thing at the end there where they're just kind of going, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're living here," is just a great little spot.
By the way, we're talking to Josh, a commercial actor from Hollywood, and Darren, who has an advertising agency. Out of curiosity, and you might not know this, in addition to the $5 million that you have to pay for the 30-second spot, and many of them are longer than that. Darren, do you know how much or a ballpark what it would cost an agency to produce, or what they would charge to produce something like this? Any idea?
Hollywood commercial like that?
Yeah.
No, since I'm not in that market, I have no clue today what that would run.
Josh, would you have an idea?
Well, it varies. I've shot spots that were $250,000 to shoot. I've shot spots that were more than that when we had to fly out of country and all that sort of thing. So it could be a few $1,000,000 easy, because you have to realize that from the actor's perspective, we always think, all right, this spot is going to run during, it's going to show in front of the most eyes humanly possible in a given period. Right. And we know it's probably never going to run again because they're putting so much money into the spot. So we go, well, we're going to get as much as we can because it's only going to run once, or it might only run, after this on internet. So all the wages go up for everybody on a Super Bowl spot. So you can spend millions and millions of dollars just shooting the spot, let alone buying the time for it. So it's a really high stakes game. But I will say this, with all the spots that I've done, and I've probably got 70 under my belt, I've still never done a national network spot for the Super Bowl, even for voiceover, which is kind of like, wait a minute, when am I getting my day? But it's always so fun to see what they come up with and see these great ads. I really loved the Seth Rogen, Amy Schumer, Bud Light ad. That was a lot of fun.
See, I missed that one. I haven't seen that.
Oh, you didn't see that?
No.
It's great.
Tried to watch as many as I could, but you're going to miss, a couple here and there. Darren, I wanted to ask you, as somebody that puts together and creates TV commercials, is it a win to just get people to talk about your commercial, or if they miss out and you can't ask them, okay, what was that commercial about? If they can't recite who the sponsor was, who it was a commercial for, are you missing out on the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You see a lot of good ads, and then you can't remember who the sponsor is. So to me, that is a failure. How many times do you have to watch an ad before you actually remember who it is? At least on a local and regional level, I absolutely pound home the sponsor as primary and the script as secondary.
I have to say that the only commercial that made me laugh out loud was this one, and I can't tell you. I know it's for some kind of orange flavored beer, but I can't tell you the name.
Hey, okay, right there, ready.
TJ, over here, little orange head, flavorful body.
What do you bought?
I like your style.
What are you? What is you?
Yeah, you look like an unemployed Civil War general.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of work for Civil War generals right now.
You look like you're about to get evicted from your parents' basement.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You look like you've recently been evicted from your parents' orange crate.
You look like you're on a cleanse that doesn't work.
Do you realize that your sunglasses move when you talk?
It's kind of my thing.
It's terrifying.
You look like your pet turtle is the only one you can lean on for emotional support.
Derek's a good listener. Was it difficult to give up your dream of becoming a punk rocker to manage an electronics store in San Diego?
You look like you were raised in the wild, but your dad, Wolf, worked a lot.
Well, yeah, so you had to bring home that wolf bacon. Do you consider fresh squeezed orange juice murder?
You look like a toddler who took a growth serum.
And you're a citrus snowboard instructor?
You look like an out-of-work magician.
It's a hobby.
I feel like you peaked in middle school.
You're awfully sassy for someone without a torso.
That's got to be Shock Top. I'm just listening to it. I haven't even seen the commercial.
I think it is
Shock Top.
Shock something, yeah.
Yeah, Shock Top. That's Shock Top beer. That's
and
funny.
I wonder, Josh, I mean, doing commercials, do you think, I mean, how much of that do you think was improv?
Well, for legal reasons, a commercial, at least down here, can never say, hey, we want you to improv, because then it actually becomes a question of who's actually writing this commercial. So when an actor comes in and brings, their own kind of innate talent, it's a dicey way to go. But I can imagine that they did a little playing around there. Oftentimes, what's interesting is that spot is quite similar to a Budweiser spot that I did a few years ago, where it was just a bunch of guys and how guys relate to each other in bars, and how their communication is largely about put downs, and guys put each other down because they love each other, and
right.
it's that women don't do that, but men do that, and it becomes this competition on who has the best put down. But what was great is that they said, all right, we want you to come up with a few of your own. So on occasion they'll allow you to do some improv like that, but they never call it improv.
Did they use any of the ones that you came up with?
I think they did, actually. I hired a good buddy of mine. He's a comic writer named Dave Hansen, also a Northwest boy, actually. He's from Olympia. And I called him and I said, hey, man, I need some help with these, and if you can come up with a bunch of good ones, I'll use them, and if they use one that we come up with, I'll give you a percentage of whatever I make. And he was on that like white on rice, and
So
it
you
turned
cheated.
out great because he wrote me some great lines.
You had a ringer do it for you.
Absolutely, if you can hire the best, you may as well.
Absolutely.
And
All
if
right.
it only costs you a small percentage, why not?
A lot of Super Bowl commercials going to be talked about. Hopefully there's a good game to go along with it. Darren Weiss from Weiss Media, thank you. Josh, have a great day in Hollywood.
Hey, good to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you both.
Thanks so much. And just last thing I would say, the Acura NSX ad with David Lee Roth.
Great ad.
Great. Superb.
Very cool.
Great. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Good call, Darren. That's a great spot.
Darren, do you have a website?
No, I don't. Anything else you want to know?
Okay. Well,
no, since I'm kind of a one-man band, and I work primarily off referrals, and so the website's coming just because you have to have one. But yeah, there hasn't been an urgency for it.
Gotcha. At least a Facebook.
Hey, if you
page.
can make a good living without a website, you're doing something right. Let me tell you, that's when it's all referrals and you can stay afloat. That's good stuff right there.
That's true.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you both. 8:41. We're going to talk about the Affair of the Heart coming up now, under a week away. Next Thursday, 11:20 KPNW.
It's the latest wake-up call market news. This is the KPNW Business Report.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Today is Jobs Day in America, and stocks are falling on slowing payroll growth. There was a 151,000 gain in payrolls, which was less than forecast. The jobless rate fell to the lowest level since February 2008 at 4.9%. Tyson Foods raised its forecast for fiscal full-year profit after a decline in the cost of feed and animals. Ample supplies of corn and soybeans over the past year have meant cheaper animal feed. Children's electronics maker Leapfrog will be acquired by VTech Holdings for about $72 million. Leapfrog helped pioneer the market for educational electronics. However, its Leap TV video gaming platform failed to catch on. It was once the biggest sporting goods chain in the U.S., and now the Sports Authority may be preparing to file for bankruptcy as it faces a debt payment due in 10 days. People familiar say it's also mapping out a plan to close as many as 200 of its more than 450 stores under the bankruptcy plan. Representatives for Sports Authority declined to comment. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg.
Thank goodness it's Sherry's Prime Rib Friday. It's time to treat yourself with a premium cut of succulent prime rib. Choose from 2 sizes for big or small appetites. We serve it up herb-crusted or blackened, both tender and juicy, with a bottle of Northwest wine that's only half price. However you order your Sherry's Prime Rib, you'll be thankful it's Friday. Come in tonight with family and friends and see what's new at Sherry's Cafe and Pies.
How big is Rite Aid's Big Point event? Plenty big. The more participating products you buy with Wellness Plus with Plenty, the more Plenty points you earn through February 27th. Earn 2,000 points when you spend $100, another $1,500 when you get to $150, and yet another $1,500 at $200. That's up to 5,000 Plenty points worth at least $50 in savings, only at Rite Aid. With us, it's personal. Earning based on total purchases from $131 to $227.16. Limit 5,000 Plenty points per card. Plenty is a rewards program. Terms and conditions apply. See plenty.com/terms for details.
I have to get to sleep.
Tom had a stressful day, and now he can't shut down at bedtime.
Need sleep.
To fall asleep fast, millions of people turn to Unisom sleep gels. They're non-habit forming and quickly help you sleep soundly so you wake recharged. Tom? Unisom sleep gels. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
Save big at Organy Deals. Check out reduced prices on Fitzpatrick Painting, SM Gun Shop, Eugene Electric Bicycle, and Creative Clock. It's easy to save. Go to KPNW.com and click Organy Deals.
I'm hooked on OrganyDeals.com. I'm saving big.
Valentine's Day is next week, and Pro Flowers is offering an amazing deal. 100 stunning blooms of love, plus a free glass vase for just $19.99. And this week only, we will also include chocolates for free. Go to proflowers.com, click on the blue radio microphone in the upper right corner, and enter the secret code 5000. But hurry, this incredible deal expires this Friday. Order now from Pro Flowers to get huge savings, plus pick the delivery date and it's guaranteed. 100 colorful blooms of love sent fresh from the fields, guaranteed to stay fresh and beautiful for at least 7 full days. That's 100 stunning blooms of love, a free glass vase, and free chocolates this week only for just $19.99. And this incredible offer expires this Friday. Valentine's Day is next week. Don't wait. The only way to get this amazing deal is to visit proflowers.com. Click on the blue microphone in the upper right corner and enter the secret code 5000. That's proflowers.com, secret code 5000.
Well, you never know how it'll happen, but occasionally there are those times in everyone's life or in many people's lives where things just go upside down financially. It could be medical bills, it could be credit card bills, maybe even student loans or a foreclosure. So you're trying to work your way out of the hole, your credit is shot, at least for the time being, and then, for whatever reason, you realize you need a new car. Well, Guarantee Discount Chevrolet has the Good People with Bad Credit program. It's for folks that are hardworking, that are out there, that are trying to get things back to normal. And it can help folks get into a quality, safe, reliable vehicle in 48 hours or less. Not only is it going to help you get to work, but it's going to help you reestablish your credit. So give them a call. It's Guarantee Discount Chevrolet. If you're one of those good people with bad credit, they can help you out. Robert Sloan is the expert there at Guarantee, can help you out at 541-998-2333. That's 541-998-2333. Guarantee Discount Chevrolet.
Anything but typical. Anything but cliche. Anything but routine. The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
All right. In the final minutes of the show, the Wake Up Call, of course, coming up next week. It is the Affair of the Heart. It's going to be at the Lane Events Center. Starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the 11th. And it goes until, what, about 9 o'clock, something like that?
Yeah, 9 o'clock, 4 to 9.
Goes until 9 o'clock. A lot of things out there. And one of the big parts of Affair of the Heart, of course, are the keynote speakers. To talk about at least one of the topics, and it's going to be CPR. We've got joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning, it is cardiologist Jay Chappell. Chappell or Chappell? Chappell. All right. Jay Chappell joining us, and also Josh Moore. He is a paramedic and firefighter with the Eugene and Springfield Fire Department, and he's the creator and coordinator of ACT C3, the Cardiac Arrest Survival Program. So both of you, thanks for being here this morning. We appreciate it.
Nice to be here.
Okay, so you, Josh, are going to be doing an actual, not only CPR demonstration, but you're going to be teaching people how to do CPR.
That's correct. The new model of CPR you can learn in less than 10 minutes, and we'll be offering free training to anyone that would like to learn the new form of CPR.
Out of curiosity, how much, of what you learn that night, what is going to be the extension as far as if you want to pursue it, how much more are you going to be able to learn?
This will be for adult CPR, and it will be the model that you'd want to copy. It's now the AHA's recommendations since 2010, so it will be the CPR that's going out across the country.
And how important do you think it is for people to,
it is a basic
question.
life-saving skill, but cardiac arrest is the #1 killer of adults in America. 420,000 people a year. Everyone should know this skill.
Okay, when you say the new form of CPR, how does this form vary from the old form?
So we don't stop to give breaths anymore. It's just continuous chest compressions, and it's basically a 3-step process to tell if somebody needs chest compressions. You shake and shout, which is the check patient. If they don't respond, there's a medical problem, so you call 911, and then you try to tell if they're breathing. And if they're not breathing, or if they're snoring or making zombie sounds, you should start chest compressions immediately. And that's it. Stay on the chest until a medical professional tells you to stop.
Okay, when you say, call 911, if there's 2 people there, can you get the other person to call 911 while you get busy?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great, because the faster you can provide blood flow to the brain, the greater chance you have of somebody surviving. It's the brain that doesn't survive oftentimes in cardiac arrest, not the heart.
Okay, so let's get Dr. Jay Chappell in here. Why not, as it used to be, X amount of compressions and then a breath? Why no longer giving breaths?
Well, I think that's a great question. Part of it is just the physiology. We've found that as long as you keep the blood circulating through the body, and that's what the chest compression is achieving, you're able to deliver enough oxygenation to the tissues, and even just the chest compressions themselves move enough air in and out of the chest. It really doesn't add that much additional to add the breaths. More pragmatically, for people out on the street, to be honest, it's kind of an inhibition to people to want to jump on somebody's chest and start the whole process, that they also feel like they need to give mouth-to-mouth. It's an awkward thing for people to do. There's logistical issues. Sometimes people have vomited. It simplifies and it lowers the inhibition for people to step in and help out.
I'm glad you brought up the point about vomiting, because it used to be, turn their heads, clear the airway, and then begin with the chest compressions and the breaths. So do you still need to, nod the head over and make sure that the airway is clear, or are you just you're going chest compressions?
Really, the primary focus right now is on the chest compressions. Again, if you have a second person there that can help out and do those other issues, that's great. But the primary issue is get chest compressions going and don't stop them. I had a personal experience as a working cardiologist in this community that really demonstrated to me the value of this, in that I have a patient who had an arrest up while camping on a golf outing way up the Mackenzie River, and he arrested at a campfire that night and with a bunch of his friends, and one of his friends knew how to do chest-only CPR, initiated CPR, and it took 24 minutes for medics to arrive with a defibrillator simply because of their remote location. This gentleman did hands-only CPR for 24 minutes so effectively that when the medics got there, applied the defibrillator, shocked him back to a normal rhythm, the gentleman, the patient himself, woke up immediately. Did not even need to be intubated, was flown down to us at Mackenzie Heart, wide awake, was having a heart attack. We were able to save his coronary, did the angiogram and the angioplasty, and he went out with essentially a normal heart and a normal brain. 24 minutes of CPR without any breathing, and the guy was neurologically perfect. Just to me personally, it made me more committed to this effort than ever.
Wow. Used to be another part of the CPR was you did thump the heart which I guess the theory was that if the heart had stopped beating, that the thump would somehow maybe get it beating again. Was that totally wrong-headed?
It's not effective, really. I've been practicing here 25 years, and most of the time when I've been involved, it's in a hospital on a monitor, and we see the rhythm, and I think once in my 25 years, I've seen somebody deliver what we call a precordial thump and have it actually change the rhythm. I mean, the odds of that working is incredibly low. Just start the CPR. If the patient wakes up and starts thrashing and the rhythm's back to normal, they're going to let you know, and they'll get you to stop.
If somebody's heart stops beating, all right, and you're doing chest compressions, their heart has stopped beating, the only thing that's going to start it beating again, though, is a defib, right? Or is that wrong?
It depends. For all intents and purposes, that's correct. It depends on why the patient arrested. As Josh mentioned, the vast majority of these patients have a rhythm called ventricular fibrillation, and that rhythm is not going to revert without an electrical shock. There are other patients who instead just have a dramatically slow rhythm or an overdose or something else that might respond to CPR by itself. But the vast majority will need a shock to get a perfusing or an effective rhythm back.
All right. Josh, and by the way, joining us, Dr. Jay Chappell and Josh Moore. Dr. Jay, of course, is a doctor, and Josh is a paramedic. How much easier has this made your job? As a paramedic, does that mean they no longer, bag the patient and do the whole, squeezing of the bag with the face mask and stuff?
There's many benefits, one of which, because people aren't blowing into people's mouths and filling up their stomach, people aren't vomiting near as much as they used to in cardiac arrest. So the whole management of our side of it is much easier. We do wait for a period of time with a VFib arrest patient, and we use a model called passive ventilation, where we trust the chest compressions to move enough air to ventilate them, and after a few minutes we do place an advanced airway. So we do eventually ventilate them, but we monitor a gas is excreted by your cells called carbon dioxide to know when it's time to actually place that intubation.
When you say it's going to take only 10 minutes to learn, what are the basic steps then? Because, I mean, 10 minutes, that's pretty fast. What essentially are the basic steps then of this new CPR?
So I called it ACT C3 because there's 3 components to the new form of CPR, 3 C's. It's check the patient, it's call 911, and it's compress the chest. And when you check the patient, you just shake and shout, and you're looking for any kind of responsiveness at all. If that person doesn't respond, it's indicative of some kind of medical problem. You should activate 911 and then check to see if they're breathing. And you can do both of those things at the same time. You can put your hand on their chest while you shake and shout, try to feel chest rise, try to listen for breathing. And if you can't tell if they're breathing or if they're moaning or snoring, which is called agonal respirations, and it's what most of us do when we go into cardiac arrest for about 5 minutes, that person certainly needs chest compressions. So start chest compressions.
So, I mean, if somebody learns, comes to, when they come to Affair of the Heart and take, your 10-minute class, that's part of it, and that's, one of those things that starts the ball rolling. But as far as, like, continuing education or continuing practice, I mean, what do you recommend after that?
Well, you can request training through our website at actc3.com. It's a city website where you can request training for your group. And it is such a basic skill that once you practice it, there's a motor memory that will kick in, and you should be able to retain that for a fairly long length of time. One of the inhibitors to the old model of CPR is nobody could remember the compression to ventilation ratio, so people were afraid to act. Well, we don't ventilate, we don't do breaths anymore, so it's much easier to remember this model. And with Good Samaritan law, you can't be penalized for trying to help.
What are the symptoms of, I mean, we make the assumption that people are going to know, okay, this person's, going to know and recognize that this person is having a heart attack, but what are the symptoms?
So 90% of adult collapses is VFib cardiac arrest. It is the #1 killer of adults. It's the #1 reason people collapse. And so if you find somebody that's down, and when you shake and shout them and they don't respond, and you can't tell if they're breathing or if they're doing what we call agonal respirations, that's snoring or moaning, they're in cardiac arrest and they need chest compressions. Incidentally, there was a study done in Seattle called the DART study, and they proved that you can't hurt somebody with chest compressions. So if you're wrong and it wasn't cardiac arrest, maybe they had a low blood sugar or something, and you do chest compressions, you can't hurt them because the heart's just a muscle, and a muscle is not injured by squeezing it. But if they're in cardiac arrest, their brain tissue is dying and they need chest compressions.
What's the common mistake, when giving someone CPR? What's the most common mistake that people make while giving CPR?
Now with the new model, it's either going too fast or too slow. So there is a magical number that we want to hit. We want to do 100 to 120 compressions a minute. Slower than 100, you don't fill up enough pressure to get blood pressure into the brain. And faster than 120, the heart and lungs don't refill with blood to circulate enough blood when you compress it.
Okay, what time are you going to be doing the
7
CPR
o'clock
seminar? All right. Dr. Jay Chappell, thank you for joining us on the Wake Up Call. Cardiologist, of course, here in Eugene, and Josh Moore, paramedic firefighter with Eugene and Springfield Fire Department and creator and coordinator of the ACT C3 Cardiac Arrest Survival Program. Thanks. You guys are saving lives, and that's a cool thing. Both of you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, take care. That's a wrap for us. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week, Monday, here on the Wake Up Call.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-841-0007. That's 1-800-841-0007. Call 1-800-841-0007.
As a young teenage boy, I didn't even know what autism was. How do you even spell that? A few years later, I heard that a friend's cousin's son had been diagnosed with autism.
I still wasn't sure what that really meant.
When I went to college, my roommate's brother had autism. When I moved to the city for work, my best friend called me and told me his son had been diagnosed with autism. We were both in shock. I still remember the day I walked into the house and saw that look on my wife's face. I knew something was wrong. I'll never forget how I felt when she said, "Our son has autism."
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 110 children is diagnosed with autism. That's a 600% increase in the last 20 years. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway and London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
And now, Katy Perry!
Imagine going on stage with nothing and being expected to roar. It's the same with our teachers who are using their own money so students can learn. DonorsChoose.org helps teachers and students succeed.
Join Katy Perry at MakeRoarHappen.com.
News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, U.S.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The White House just announcing President Obama will make a statement on the economy at this hour. The latest jobs report showing not quite as many created in January. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Lisa, the labor market added 151,000 jobs last month, while the jobless rate dropped to 4.9%, the lowest level since 2008. Jobs were gained in retail, food services, and healthcare, while employment declined in private educational services, transportation, and mining. The labor force participation rate went up, as did wages. Average hourly earnings increased by 12 cents to $25.39. Lisa.
Rachel, a sell-off on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow's down 160. 4 days to the first in the nation primary. Donald Trump still has a double-digit lead in New Hampshire polls.
And when you look at who is trailing, it's really the battle for second. Rubio, Cruz, Kasich, Bush at 15, 13, 11, and 10.
Fox Business Network's Blake Berman on a real clear politics average that also finds Bernie Sanders leading Hillary Clinton by 20 points in New Hampshire. A new national Quinnipiac poll says he's just 2 points behind her. Amid growing concern about how the Zika virus can spread, the CDC just holding its latest briefing. Fox News Radio's Eben Brown has this live.
And Lisa, the Centers for Disease Control insist mosquitoes are the prime method of transmission for Zika, but it's also sexually transmitted. Director Tom Frieden says it's imperative men protect themselves to prevent spread to pregnant women due to the risk of birth defects. Men might not even know they have it.
And those that are symptomatic are generally mild. The real problem here is the effect on the developing brain of the fetus. That is what has to be the priority for protection.
And Puerto Rico's governor's just now declaring a health emergency, too, because of Zika. The U.S. territory's on the list of destinations pregnant travelers should avoid, Lisa.
Thanks, Eben. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Valentine's Day is next week, and ProFlowers is offering an amazing deal. 100 stunning blooms of love, plus a free glass vase for just $19.99. And this week only, we will also include chocolates for free. Go to proflowers.com, click on the blue radio microphone in the upper right corner, and enter the secret code 2222. But hurry, this incredible deal expires this Friday. Order now from ProFlowers to get huge savings, plus pick the delivery date and it's guaranteed. 100 colorful blooms of love sent fresh from the fields, guaranteed to stay fresh and beautiful for at least 7 full days. That's 100 stunning blooms of love, a free glass vase, and free chocolates this week only for just $19.99. And this incredible offer expires this Friday. Valentine's Day is next week. Don't wait. The only way to get this amazing deal is to visit proflowers.com. Click on the blue microphone in the upper right corner and enter the secret code 2222. That's proflowers.com, secret code 22.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Deb Carson.
And breaking NFL news, Johnny Manziel agent has released a statement saying he will no longer represent the quarterback. Among other things, Eric Burkhart says, quote, "It has become painfully obvious that his future rests solely in his own hands," end quote. He also goes on to say, quote, "Accountability is the foundation of any relationship, and without it, the function of my work is counterproductive," end quote. Meanwhile, a Salt Lake City Zoo orangutan has picked the Panthers to win Super Bowl 50. Animals at this zoo are said to have correctly picked the Super Bowl winner each of the last 8 years. College hoops had an upset in the top 10. Vanderbilt stunned number 8 Texas A&M 77-60, while in the NBA, Kobe Bryant hit the go-ahead 3 with a minute to play as the Lakers edged the Pelicans 99-96. Pistons blew a 27-point lead but survived the Knicks 111-105. Raptors beat the Trailblazers 110-103.
Wildlife, boating, fishing, camping, and more. 43rd Annual Eugene Boating Sportsman Show is back at the Lane County Fairgrounds Friday through Sunday, February 5th through the 7th. Get up close and personal with the Great Bear Show's 400-pound giants. Meet Gold Rush star Dakota Fred. Revel in Tough Shed's Ultimate Man Cave. See the hottest wake surfing boats, kayaks, SUPs, and accessories. Seven Feathers Big Game Room features record trophies and head and horns competition. See the latest products, hunting and fishing guides, ammo, giant fish tank, and more.
For kids?
There's the Pepsi Live Trout Pond, archery range, shooting gallery, climbing wall, and the zip line. Jody Smith and Dan Clore had an impressive list of speakers in the Sportsman's Theater. Enter to win a Gold Quest adventure with Dakota Fred, a guaranteed trailer, and buy 'em outdoor prizes. The first 100 adults will win a free scratcher from the Oregon Lottery. And every adult patron will get a subscription to Northwest Sportsman magazine. Take advantage of low show prices on all the latest model boats at Lane County's premier boat display and sale. All of this at the KUZI Boat and Sportsman Show, Lane County Fairgrounds, presented by Bimart, February 5th through the 7th. See you there.
Hi, I'm Eric Harple with Realty One Group. You've heard our ads with Glenn Beck and Lars Larson for years, and like they said, I have been the top real estate agent in Lane County for more than 5 years. But honestly, who cares? What I care about is helping you get your home sold for the most money possible within your time frame. My team and I help more home sellers sell than any other agent, and most at full price or more. How? Massive marketing. When you're number one, you can do things the others can't. I'm not bragging. I'm applying for a job. I want to be your realtor. And if you're not happy, fire me. Mind you, I think you'll be happy because our bulletproof listing offers flexible commissions, the right to sell it yourself, cancel anytime. You're in control. We sell homes for top dollar regardless of the time of year, and we put the money in your pocket. For a free information package, call 541-286-3030. Call Harple Real Estate, countywide, 541-286-3030. or harplehomes.com. Thank you.
It's 9:06 and time for Rush. Rush Limbaugh on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
It's funny, nobody can figure it out. Nobody understands it. They're looking at Trump. Trump refuses all of a sudden to criticize Cruz. Trump is all of a sudden suggesting he might even pick Cruz as his vice presidential running mate if he wins the nomination. And everybody's saying, my gosh, what happened? What happened? Well, I'm going to tell you what happened. It's Friday, folks. Let's get rolling here.
Now, from sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
Yes, sirree, Bob. Open Line Friday. This is your day. If you're on the phone, if you're a caller, you determine what we talk about today. 800-282-2882. We pay for the call. We pay for you to be on hold all those hours. We always have. It's no big deal. I just thought I'd mention it for the heck of it. After all, we had a Democrat debate last night, and they want everybody else to pay for whatever they want. By the way, I'm going to do some analysis of this. I actually watched it last night. Not just watched it, I studied it last night. Figured it was about time, so stand by for that. It'll be worth it. If you want to send an email, lrushbo@eibnet.com is the email address. Super Bowl Sunday, we have the predatory Carolina Panthers against the Denver Broncos. They're horses. I mean, maybe wild horses, but they're still victims. They're not predators. Panthers, mountain lions, cougars, what have you, they are predators. That would give you a hint as to the environmentalist wacko way to look at the game. Look at this from the Huffing and Puffington Post. This is the same guy, by the way, that had the story in USA Today earlier about how we all ought to feel guilty watching the Super Bowl because doing so is promoting concussions. Huffing and Puffington Post, the Carolina Panthers are the most unapologetically black team ever. Now, this is from the left. These are the people telling us that it's all the racism and all the bigotry is to be found in conservatism and the Republican Party, and yet every time you open your mind, open your eyes, and start reading or listening to things, here you get a bunch of racist or racial analysis of things. Carolina Panthers, the most unapologetically black team ever. Details coming up. Also, I have been really overwhelmed, and I understand this, with emails from people asking me to detail the battery life problem that I've been experiencing with all of my iOS devices the past month. Because battery life is it's a universal complaint that people have. And folks, the problem I had is not something that it was not related to settings like no notifications or location services or background app refresh. It wasn't. It was much, much, much more severe. It was not. You couldn't fix it. You couldn't make a difference in it whatsoever by toying around with settings. It was far, far deeper problem than that, which is why it required installing a couple of profiles to create logs of behavior taking place on the 5 of the devices, and then the reams of data that was produced had to be examined in order to find the culprit. And I'm going to explain it at some point during the program today because people, I said yesterday, nobody cares, and a lot of people actually do. Battery life, a universal complaint that people have. But again, what I'm going to tell you, my solution was, I'm not advocating anybody do. My problem was drastic and totally outside the norm and could not be dealt with by standard, ordinary changes in settings or other behaviors. In fact, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to very soon, hopefully, have a section on my website for tech tips. Because I know you people in the stick to the issues crowd get very upset when I start talking about my passions that are not related to politics, whatever they may be, the NFL, golf, my iOS devices. I can hear you. I can see you out there shouting at the radio and throwing things at it. Stick to the issue. Stick to it. I know you're out there. But this was a dramatic. I'd never seen anything like it. Problem, and nobody else was experiencing it, and nobody had. I mean, every suggestion was a suggestion that I could come up with myself. There was not one person who had one idea what was wrong, and had I not been able to get really deep help, I would have never figured this out. I would have had to just adjust to the fact that my iPhone 6S would die every 4 hours, which meant that it would just have to be constantly charging, make it unusable. So I'll detail that, too, as the program unfolds before your very eyes and ears. We've got the two campaigns going. But this, everybody's stumped today. Everybody's stymied. Everybody's curious, can't figure it out. All of a sudden, Donald Trump says he doesn't want to criticize Cruz anymore. All of a sudden, Donald Trump says, yeah, you know what I like, Ted? I might even have him as my vice president if I get the nomination. But wait a minute. Everybody say you're thinking of suing him because he's from Canada. What the hell's going on? They can't figure out what happened. So they're assigning it. Well, you know, maybe Trump's insane. And then they say, no, he's not insane. So what's going on here? Well, maybe he's just trying to keep everybody on their toes and off guard and not knowing what's coming next. No, that may be, but that's not what's going on here. Well, but then why? You know, he abandons Dr. Carson. Dr. Carson was his big friend, and then all of a sudden he doesn't care about Dr. Carson. He likes Ted Cruz. All of a sudden he's not gonna complain about what's going on, and they're all struggling to try to figure this out. And the answer can be found by going back to yesterday's program here on the EIB network. This is why. Now, I understand that the polling is hit or miss, and that 13 of them were wrong. I understand. 13 polls had Trump winning. And I've got nothing against Dr. Carson. I think Dr. Carson's one of the finest men alive today walking this planet. This whole episode, nevertheless, boggles my mind. This whole thing, manufactured as it is, just boggles my mind. We're on the verge here, we conservatives, of wresting control of the Republican Party from the establishment and get sidetracked with this stuff. It isn't helpful. I wish it would stop, but I'm not running all these campaigns. And I said even more than that. I got specific. I said this notion that you can't take a tweet that's found on CNN and spread the news around it without creating some kind of controversy is silly. It's a waste of time. It's a distraction. And I a couple of times yesterday, I just said, stop it. Stop this stuff. There's way too much going on to get distracted by this. Where too much time is spent. You know, it's okay to disagree with people. It's okay to have policy differences with them, but there's no reason to start excommunicating people, either from the party or from the movement, people who you know are conservative but may be wrong on an issue here or issue there. Fine, disagree with them all you want. Defeat them all you want. But this excommunication stuff and banishing them, I had enough of it yesterday. It's destructive. I mean, this election is too important. I'm rehashing much of what I said yesterday, adding a couple things to it. But really, there's just too much at stake here. And so I'd had it, and I've been telling people in my circle of friends that this stuff's starting to get embarrassing to me. There was no election stolen in Iowa and all of this about, you know, I did hear from a guy named Bill Saraceno. Bill Saraceno goes way back to my days in Sacramento. Bill Saraceno lost his hearing, and he was one of the first people I talked to about what life was going to be like with a cochlear implant way back in 2000, whenever that was. And he was extremely helpful. He had gone to the house clinic just as I had. And he helped me to prepare for what hearing and life and getting along was going to be like a cochlear implant before I had mine surgically implanted. And then after that, I lost track of him. I got an email from him yesterday, first time in 12 years, and he is in, or was in, I guess he's still in California. He's working on the Carson campaign, and he was telling me there are people who had their votes shafted away from him, Rush. I heard you on the radio today saying that not one person's popped up to say that they were going to vote for Carson and didn't because of what Ted Cruz's campaign was doing. Well, Rush, I got a couple of them here, and you need to know this. So he was telling me that a couple of people had stood up. But I still haven't heard it or seen it, and it wasn't going to add up to 25,000 votes, which is what Carson needed to tie Rubio for third place. That wasn't going to happen. And furthermore, Carson outperformed what he was supposed to get if you believe in polling data. So the whole thing to me just seemed unnecessary. And I had the usual, oh, you're just in the tank for Cruz. I'm not in the tank for anybody here. It's not my job to win a campaign for it. It's not my job to take people out of it either. It's not my job to make them win it or help them. It's not my job to see to it that they lose it. That's up to them. And that's always been my philosophy. But when I see really unfortunate time-wasting things like this guy, it just feeds right into them. I mean, the drive-bys here, we're on the verge, like I said there, we're on the verge of wresting control of the party from the establishment, which is what has to happen for us conservatives. And now here we're in the process of trying to destroy 2 or 3 of them. Circular firing squad. So anyway, that's what I said yesterday. Last night, CNN, Anderson Cooper 360, interviewing Donald Trump. Cooper said, you came in second in Iowa to Ted Cruz. Let's talk about Cruz. You basically accused him of fraud, stealing the election in Iowa. You talked about wanting a new election there. Have you actually spoken to Republican Party officials about that?
No, look, I'm into New Hampshire now. It's just one of those things. It was sort of a lot of strange things. And, I like Ben Carson very much. And he got pretty roughed up, frankly, although it affected me maybe more than Ben. But I'm so much, because I've been now here for 2 days, I'm so much into New Hampshire, that I don't care about that.
Well, that's what happened. He doesn't care about it. He was moving on. Said what he had to say about it, got his message out, thinks Cruz is from Canada and is a fraud, and is now moving on. It's dropping it. But the media is not happy. That's why, folks. Are you saying that you handled? Well, who else did? Nobody can figure it out. I'm giving you a possibility, certainly. So then Anderson Cooper, who the media is the last group of people who want to see this happen. The media want to see Trump loaded for bear. The media deathly afraid of Cruz. And they're afraid of Trump. And they're going to end up being afraid of Rubio at some point. They want Cruz taken out. They're frustrated. The media is frustrated. They haven't been able to take out Republican frontrunners yet. And the Republican frontrunners in waiting are at the bottom of the pile. The media candidates of ours they prefer can't get any traction. They're frustrated. So here comes Trump aiming at Cruz. They loved it. Anderson Cooper's, oh no, but wait, Donald, you think Ted Cruz intentionally was spreading false information, right? How can you do this?
I don't care. I mean, I don't want to even say, let's see what happens. I guess people are looking at it. Who cares? We're into here. I picked up a lot of delegates. I was second. I picked up one less than he did. So that's not going to be even a factor. But this is the place that I'm focused.
Right. He's focused on New Hampshire now. So everybody is running around. What happened? Why did there's a possibility for you? By the way, Cruz, this guy is so sharp. He is so quick. Did you hear a reporter tried to, and they ought to give up trying. No reporter on earth is going to be able to outwit in a match of wits Ted Cruz. They're not going to be able to sabotage the guy. A reporter kept hounding him about this dirty trick. Reporters said, but it's a dirty trick. It's a dirty trick to confuse voters. Don't you think it's a dirty trick to confuse voters? And Cruz said, no. We're not going to scapegoat anybody. This reporter wanted to know, you're going to fire anybody. Nobody's going to escape anybody. I would note that the news story that our team passed on was true and accurate. CNN reported it. Yeah, but it reports a dirty trick, right? Don't you think it's a dirty trick? I mean, how can you do that? That's a horrible thing to do. Cruz, is it a dirty trick to pass on your news stories? You're in the journalism business. Would you think it was a dirty trick if I was forwarding an ABC story? It's where this reporter worked. Or is it only a dirty trick when I pass on CNN stories? And the reporter, because Cruz said, hey, I didn't do a damn thing. Carson's people called CNN. CNN put something up. We saw it. We used it. If there's a dirty trick, it's you people in the media putting it up in the first place. So Cruz is saying to this ABC reporter, oh, really? It's a dirty trick to pass on your news stories? You're in the business. Would you think it was a dirty trick if I was forwarding an ABC story? Or is it just a dirty trick to pass on CNN stories? Brief timeout. We come back. The Democrat debate, and as I said, studied it, and it was painful. Folks, I'm not kidding. It was painful on so many levels. I literally felt like I was a visitor from someplace and was not at all living in the world they were talking about. These people sounded like they were in a foreign country. I mean, it was that striking. It was beyond anything that happens in my day-to-day world, listening to these two. And it was Grandma and Grandpa just arguing, and it was I suffered through this, and I'm going to explain to you why. Get started on it. We come back.
For your convenience, broadcasting almost 100% in English with just a little Spanish lingo. Rush on the EIB network.
You want a Valentine's Day gift that is sure to be a hit? Start with the freshest, largest strawberries of the season and then dip them into incredible chocolate. I'm talking about Sherry's Berries. I love Sherry's Berries. You can get fresh dipped strawberries from Sherry's Berries, a half dozen of them, for $19.99. And that is a 40% savings. Or you can double the amount to a dozen strawberries for just $5 more. Just go to berries.com, click on the microphone, and type in my name, Rush. Sherry's Berries are dipped in white milk and dark chocolatey goodness. They are topped with chocolate chips, chopped nuts, or decorated swizzles. Sherry's Berries makes these fresh every day, folks. Ships them overnight with packaging that keeps them fresh, and delivery is always guaranteed. Call 866-FRUIT-02 or visit berries.com. Click on the microphone in the top right corner. Enter the promo code RUSH. That's berries.com, promo code RUSH. Order now.
It's panic time. The boss just asked you when that new building will be completed, and you haven't even started yet. Well, don't panic. Call the name you know, General Steel. You've known General Steel for decades, and you know they'll save you about half the cost and about half the time of conventional construction. But did you know that General Steel has provided buildings for some of the biggest names in business and government? And did you know the General can provide pre-construction planning services for your total project? And I'll bet you didn't know you can get General Steel quality and save thousands. For example, a 40-foot by 60-foot building for under $22,000, or a 50 by 100 for under $35,000. That's right, 5,000 square feet for under $35,000, and all with General Steel's 50-year structural warranty. So don't panic. Call now and lock in some of the lowest prices this year. 800-98-STEEL. Call 800-98-STEEL today. Quick, the boss is coming. That's 800-987-8335.
It's about time someone put the beer in root beer. Introducing Best Damn Root Beer. Aged over real vanilla beans, this easy-drinking hard root beer delivers a timeless classic that's been reinvented for the 21 and over crowd. New Best Damn Root Beer from Best Damn Brewing Company. Brews you can swear by. Now that's Best Damn. Enjoy responsibly. Best Damn Root Beer Ale. Best Damn Brewing Company, St. Louis, Missouri.
Mark your calendars, get a babysitter, gather up your girlfriends. It's time for the 13th year of Affair of the Heart. It's Lane County's premier women's event. You've been balancing a busy life and you deserve a night off. What could be better than fashion shopping, martinis, free samples, and great health and wellness information? The 13th annual Affair of the Heart on February 11th from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Lane Event Center. Find us on Facebook or go to theaffairoftheheart.com for details. See you there. Sponsored by Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center.
For thousands of local foster children, the nights can feel long and lonely when you're away from familiar faces and places.
I miss my sister. I miss my old school. I miss my room.
Even something as simple as a pair of warm pajamas can make the nights a little easier.
Sometimes I get scared. I can't sleep.
To help, Sleep Train is collecting pajamas for foster children big and small. Bring your gift of new pajamas, packaged socks, and underwear to any Sleep Train, and they'll be given to a local foster child in need. You can also donate online at sleeptrain.com.
Pajamas are like a hug.
On behalf of the foster kids in your neighborhood, Sleep Train thanks you.
Not everyone can be a foster parent, but anyone can help a foster child.
Help a local foster child by bringing your gift of new pajamas to Sleep Train. Donate at any Sleep Train store or online at sleeptrain.com today.
Before
With
it's too
news every
late.
30 minutes. Bloomberg Market Reports every hour. And Rush Limbaugh now. We are 1120 KPNW.
It is Open Line Friday. And I am your host, the all-knowing, all-caring, all-sensing, all-feeling, all-concerned, all-everything, Maha Rushy. Okay, the Democrat debate. Polling data, by the way, Bernie Sanders now leads Clinton by 20 points in New Hampshire. Quinnipiac University poll out today says Bernie Sanders nearly tied with Hillary Clinton in a nationwide poll. Now, just for me, just a quick overview, I thought Hillary cleaned his clock last night, but that's not what they think. What I think doesn't matter. Folks, you and I, I'm just here to tell you, you and I have nothing in common with the people watching that debate last night. And you have to watch this in order to be able to understand. It's such a different world in which they're all living and some working. Many of their voters do not work. It's key to understand this. But the thing that you have to be able to do to successfully empathize with the average Democrat voter, and I'm not talking about elite, rich Wall Street Democrats or Hollywood Democrats. I'm talking about the Democrat middle class, lower middle class rank and file. You have to be able to watch this and understand the environment and attitudes they have watching it, which you and I do not have. We do not think like they do. We're not fatalists. We're not depressed. We're not defeatists. We're not victims. We don't think everything that's going wrong is somebody else's fault because they're specifically targeting us. The liberal mindset, as it exists today, is absent happiness. There is none. Add to that, after 7 years of what was to be the fix for everything wrong, not just in America, but in the world, they're even angrier. They live with the reality, probably subconsciously, that everything they voted for and believed was going to happen, all these great things that were going to get fixed are worse. First African-American president has made no positive difference whatsoever. They're faced daily with the reality, which they probably do not admit, that everything they believe in tanks. But that's not even half of it. Hang on.
From the KPNW News Center, here's what's going on. The 4 people remaining at the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge demanded they be released and not arrested, but that's unlikely to happen because they've been named in a federal grand jury indictment. Eamon Bundy, the 4 at the refuge, and 11 others are accused of conspiring to take over the refuge with force. The federal investigation into Sylvia Hayes continues. The FBI is investigating whether her connection to former Governor John Kitzhaber as his companion benefited her private consulting firm. Hayes tells K2 News they took steps to keep her business and the state's business separate.
I trust that everything is going to be fine here. I do. And I have reason to.
Because the investigation continues, she wouldn't answer most questions, only essentially saying she was innocent. A 21-year-old Corvallis woman who allegedly brandished a realistic-looking toy gun at an officer outside his patrol car and dared him to shoot her was charged yesterday with 5 misdemeanors after being released from Samaritan Mental Health. Sarah Rogers approached Officer Derek Samuels, who was sitting in his patrol car in Corvallis, and yelled at him to shoot her. He didn't. Bill London, KPNW.
Thank goodness it's Sherry's Prime Rib Friday. It's time to treat yourself with a premium cut of succulent prime rib. Choose from 2 sizes for big or small appetites. We serve it up herb-crusted or blackened, both tender and juicy, with a bottle of Northwest wine that's only half price. However you order your Sherry's Prime Rib, you'll be thankful it's Friday. Come in tonight with family and friends and see what's new at Sherry's Cafe and Pies.
You'll feel the love at Garrity in Junction City. This is Shannon Nill inviting you to enjoy over 25 acres of selection and special sweetheart prices on cars, trucks, motorhomes, and trailers. Take a test drive and you'll head home with a long stem rose for your sweetheart. At Garrity, we believe in sharing the love with our employees, our community, and all our friends and neighbors. Enjoy this free rose as our gift to you and your sweetheart. We're also offering special sweetheart prices on hundreds of hard-to-find cars, trucks, and SUVs. You'll love our big city selection and country savings. Plus, you'll never pay any additional dealer markup on every new vehicle on our giant lots. You'll also love over $2.7 million in markdowns on motorhomes, trailers, and fifth wheels. Buy now and you'll be ready for spring and summer camping seasons. Trade in anything and enjoy low cost bank financing. Sweetheart savings, long stem roses, and hometown treatment. That's only at Garrity, 5 minutes north of the Eugene Airport in Junction City.
Wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, a crashing economy. Are you ready? At best, your local stores have a 3-day supply of food. Will your family have to fight over what's left? Are you willing to gamble your family's safety that it'll never happen to you? Be wise and be ready with 25-year shelf life Wise Food Storage. Wise Food Storage provides affordable, ready-made gourmet meals with a super long 25-year shelf life. Meals like pasta Alfredo, cheesy lasagna, breakfast, dessert, drinks, and snacks. Just add water and your family is eating delicious food instead of fighting for scraps in a food riot. Try it free. Order a no-obligation free sample meal delivered right to your front door. And for a limited time, get a 10% discount and free shipping on all orders. Once done, you're set for 25 years. Be wise and be ready with Wise Food Storage. Call for your free sample now. 800-775-9353. 800-775-9353. 800-775-9353.
There's a lot of things out there that we don't understand. It doesn't mean that they don't exist. And that's why I just love your program.
Kind of a messy job. Hey, somebody's got to do it, right? I'm George Norrie.
George Norrie on News Radio 1120 KPNW. Depend on us. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Look, there's Obama out now, and he's hailing these fraudulent unemployment numbers released today. He's out there saying the first time unemployment rate is below 5% in 8 years. It's at 4.9%. 151,000 new jobs are created. It's just a lie. It's total fraud. What is this first time unemployment rate? Well, we talk about first time, so we don't have to talk about the people who've been unemployed for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, so we don't talk about them. So, yeah, the number of people unemployed for the first time, under 5%. Add those to the 94 million Americans who can't find jobs, and it's not a pretty picture. But there he is. He's out there claiming credit for it. And he's told anybody, State of the Union show, that anybody who tells you that this economy is not good is crazy or lying or whatever. And Hillary Clinton spent the whole debate last night telling everybody how the economy sucks. That's one of the many things. You watch this and you don't, What is she complaining about? She and her party have been running this country for 7 years, and she dares to detail all that's gone wrong with it. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. To watch this debate last night, I tried to assume the attitude, mental psyche of your average middle-class Democrat watching it. And the thing that you have to do doing that, you have to understand who the Democrats are today. What is their base like? They are perpetual and constant victims, folks. Many of them are poor, but even the ones who aren't poor feel they are poor. They have invested their entire lives hoping others are going to do things for them. And of course, nobody gets anywhere doing that. So when it doesn't work out, you feel like you've been victimized. You feel like you've been taken advantage of and forgotten. It's never your fault. They think they've been victimized by all of the isms: sexism, racism, bigotry, homophobia, whatever it is. There is some sort of explanation that is rooted in negative behavioral traits of others who are doing mean things to them, or who are standing in their way of getting anywhere, or who are purposely targeting them and keeping them down. Their misery, and that's what their lives are, their misery in their minds is explained by all of these mean, powerful forces out to deny them. Big oil, big pharmaceutical, big retail, you name it. All of these, the Republican Party, talk radio, all of these powerful forces are arrayed against them and keeping them pinned down to where they can't accomplish anything. In their minds, they should have been great successes. They're the smartest people in the world. They're smarter than you. They're smarter than people running the country, but they've never gotten a break. Everybody's given them the raw deal every day of their lives. It was either their teachers or their school or a coach or a parent. Somebody failed to see how brilliant they are, how great they are. Then it was their boss, if they ever had a job, or their employer who didn't make them company president, didn't promote them, didn't give them a raise, maybe fired them. And then you throw the cops in this. They hate the cops. The cops are out to get them. It's hopeless. Their own environment, the people they live among, the places they go to school, the places they go shop, everywhere they go is aligned and arrayed against them. They are victims of this conspiracy or that, and I don't mean tinfoil hat conspiracy. They're victims of unseeable, invisible, powerful forces that are arrayed against them in so many ways it's impossible, don't you know, to overcome. The only remedy, therefore, is the government to give them the things that they are being denied because of all of these mean, powerful forces that have stacked the deck against them. Everything that's too expensive is because somebody is trying to screw them out of being unable to have it, be it higher education, be it a nice car, be it health care, be it child care. All of that stuff should rightfully have been theirs, and it should have been easily acquired, but it's being denied them. Usually by the rich who stole all of the stuff from them at one point. This is how they think. Now, you made Russia crazy. Nobody thinks this way. They do, folks. It is the only way a debate like last night makes any sense, where you have a battle between two old grandparent types arguing over who can give away the most, while punishing the most people at the same time. The only way a debate like that makes sense is if I have nailed the attitudinal psychology of these average Democrat voters. Housing. Well, who can afford that? There ought to be subsidies or vouchers or giveaways of some kind because they can't afford these things, and it's all because somebody else is making it impossible for them. The rich, however, they've got all this. They ought to be paying for it. And the rich are the ones that are squeezing them to boot. So the rich ought to be paying for it. You've heard liberals talk about access. Usually you hear them talk about how they're being denied access to something. That is how the liberal mind, the middle class, liberal mind thinks. Such as access to, shall we say, reproductive rights or reproductive health care. Reproductive health care. They're being denied access. Now, that phraseology makes it look like they're being denied rights, like they're being denied constitutional rights, human rights that are guaranteed to everybody. What denied access means when these people use it is nobody's giving it to them. Little test. Going forward, when you listen on TV, any liberal on TV start talking about how they're being denied access to this or that, what they mean is that nobody's giving it to them. Now, the Democrat elite, the rich Democrats, they are in the same boat, but they're unhappy for different reasons. I'm not going to mess with them. I'm not going to bother with them right now because the focus here is the people that watched that debate last night. The Democrat elites are the ones. I had to laugh. I'll just give an example. Here's Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, and they're both ragging on Wall Street last night. Wall Street pays for the Democrat Party, and both of them know it. I've got a list of all of the Wall Street. No, they're ragging on Goldman Sachs last night, and the Blankfeins, Lloyd Blankfein, who runs the place, and his wife are two of the biggest donors of the Democrat Party. Wall Street props up the modern-day Democrat Party. Wall Street does not support Republicans. And yet here these two are last night, ragging on Wall Street like nobody ever has before. The reason? They know the people watching the debate are blaming Wall Street and all the other fat cats for denying them what they should have had their entire lives and preventing them from ever having a hope of getting whatever they want or need in the future. Therefore, somebody better use government to get it to them. The liberal mindset today has no happiness. There is no joy. They're all victims. Somebody's to blame for their misery and their lack of future. Add to it 7 years of what they thought was going to be a socialist utopia. Barack Hussein Obama. No more war. We're going to fix global warming. We're going to close Guantanamo Bay. We're not going to do any more torture. We're going to put people at Wall Street. We're going to put them in jail. We're going to finally get even with all of these people who've made life so miserable. And instead, what do they realize every day? They realize Obama's in bed with these guys they think ought to be in jail. And subconsciously they realize that everything they voted for, and they always vote for, but they voted for in 2008, everything they voted for has made things worse. The country's getting worse. Even they admit it's on the wrong track. Different reasons from you and I. But point is, they had their people in power the last 7 years. They had people in power the other party never even tried to stop. Now, these people I'm talking about think the Republican Party is stopping the great Obama each and every day. They think Obama's still an outsider, doing his best to overcome these powerful forces. All of these powerful forces of denial, by the way, happen to be Republicans. In your average, warped, liberal mind. Not only is there no happiness in the liberal mindset, if you watch that debate last night, there's no pursuit of happiness. Neither Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton are about happiness. They're not about finding it. They're not about promoting it. They're not about ensuring it. They're not even cognizant of it. Happiness did not even show up, either in terms of how Bernie and Hillary portrayed themselves or in terms of what they talked about. What they talked about last night was anger and how people are getting shafted, how people are getting screwed. Hillary is progressively angrier and louder as every day goes by because there is more racism, there is more bigotry, there's more inequality, there's more denial of rights for women, for Hispanics, for African Americans. It never ends. It only gets worse. And the free market is to blame. Bernie Sanders talks about this sustained rigged economy. That's how he opened last night. This economy is rigged. It's rigged by the people of Wall Street and whoever else. And I'm saying, who rigged the economy? Who possibly can rig the economy? If you have on one hand a free market, a regulated free market, how in the world do you rig it? There's only one place. There's only one entity that can rig the market, folks. It's called Uncle Sam. The United States government is who rigs the economy. The tax code is a way to rig the economy. It's a government creation. Regulations, that's how you rig the economy. It's how you pick winners and pick losers. The market doesn't pick winners and losers. You have to win or lose. It's up to you in the market. The government coming in, picking winners and losers, is rigging the market. And the government has been rigging the market for as long as there have been liberals in it. Free markets, by definition, rig nothing. Free markets reward smart. Free markets reward entrepreneurism. Free markets reward hard work. And not all the time, by the way. It's another thing these people think. They think we're full of it because we believe these old bromides, hard work and all that, and devotion and ambition pays off. It's a lot more than that. Doesn't work for everybody, of course. Not everybody's a multimillionaire. Not everybody never has been, never will be. And because of that, they're able to universally criticize it and claim it's illegitimate and so forth. The government's the biggest risk to our economy. And it ain't even close. There's nothing that comes even, you can't even see something else in the binoculars when you're looking out there to find out the possible things could rig, damage U.S. economy. U.S. government's it, and there's nothing else that you are going to see. It isn't Wall Street rigging the economy. It's Pennsylvania Avenue. But wait, Rush, what about quantitative easing? I've heard you say, right, but Wall Street, they just had their hands open, but it was Washington that decided to print all that money. It was Washington decided to give it to them. By the way, here's Bernie and these guys ragging on Goldman Sachs and so forth. You ever found it strange that practically every former CEO of Goldman Sachs becomes Treasury Secretary in Democrat administrations? And Democrat Treasury Secretary comes up with QE3, Federal Reserve, so forth. They're taking the money that's coming into Washington and giving it to their friends. Are all Democrats doing this? Wall Street funds the Democrat Party. Hillary said she's never been influenced by mega donations. Then why are you accepting it? They're not giving you money because you're pretty. They're not giving them money because they like having you come by and have a drink with them because you're dull and boring. They're not giving you money because they want to pal around with Bill and maybe get some of the action he rejects. Talking about babes. They're giving you money, Hillary, because exactly right, you are going to pay them back with influence in kind if you ever get elected. It was just
in times like these, we need him more than ever. Rush on the EIB network.
You may not know this, folks. Valentine's Day is coming up fast. Now is the time to order your roses from 1-800-Flowers.com. Make sure you really wow her by sending her a stunning bouquet from 1-800-Flowers, your rose authority. And take my advice. Surprise her with roses from 1-800-Flowers early. Valentine's Day is on a Sunday this year. You want to set the mood for a great weekend. Now, right now, 1-800-Flowers is offering you a great limited-time offer on red Valentine's roses that ends tonight. Order a bouquet, 18 beautiful red roses, only $29.99. That's $25 off the regular price. Now, this offer from 1-800-Flowers.com ends tonight. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com from your desktop or mobile device. Just click on the radio microphone in the upper right corner and enter Rush. It's that simple. 1-800-Flowers.com and enter my name. The magic happens. Rush, R-U-S-H.
Paid for by Bonner & Partners, an independent research firm. My name is Bill Bonner, and I'm the president of the largest private news and research network in the world. And I paid for this airtime because I have an important message to the American people. There's a change coming that the government isn't telling you about. This change has deep implications for life in America, from where you shop to the doctors you visit and the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. Thing is, I was right then too. A few years ago, I warned that housing prices would collapse. They did. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash. They did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves. But this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all.
Bill has posted a free video that details everything you need to know at usadownfall.com. And maybe you'll disagree with his conclusions, but first you need to watch this video and see the facts for yourself. Just go to usadownfall.com. That's usadownfall.com.
How big is Rite Aid's Big Point event? Plenty big. The more participating products you buy with Wellness Plus with Plenty, the more Plenty points you earn through February 27th. Earn 2,000 points when you spend $100, another $1,500 when you get to $150, and yet another $1,500 at $200. That's up to 5,000 Plenty points worth at least $50 in savings. Only at Rite Aid. With us, it's personal. Earning based on total purchases from $131 to $227.16. Limit 5,000 Plenty points per card. Plenty is a rewards program. Terms and conditions apply. See plenty.com/terms for details.
I have to get to sleep.
Tom had a stressful day, and now he can't shut down at bedtime.
Need sleep.
To fall asleep fast, millions of people turn to Unisom sleep gels. They're non-habit forming and quickly help you sleep soundly so you wake recharged. Tom? Unisom sleep gels. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
You're listening to Rush Limbaugh Now. Tonight at 8, it's Alex Jones. Only on 1120 KPNW.
And by the way, folks, this is why I cringe when I hear Republicans talking about the need to cross the aisle. And like I heard Lindsey Graham this year, we need to go out and get the Hispanic vote. We need to go get more of this vote and that vote. It's not possible. It's not possible to get them. When you understand who they are, they're not reasonable. They're not going to be able to listen to a pitch from Lindsey Graham or anybody else saying, no, we're not who you think we are. We're nice and so forth. That's it. They're not even going to get close. These people are alien to us, folks. The average middle class, lower middle class Democrat voter is so victimized, and they're not angry at us because they think we're racist. They're angry at us because we're the reason they are failures. We're the reason they've never amounted to anything. We're the reason they don't have anything. There's no amount of reaching out to them. Because that's their safety blanket, to be victims, to have us to blame for their failure. They're never going to admit that we all of a sudden are nice guys and worthy of their vote. That would destroy the entire foundation they've created in order to stay alive, even though it's miserable. Here's Leslie in Lafayette, Indiana, as we head to the phones. Great to have you up first today, Open Line Friday. Hi.
Hi, Rush.
Hey.
Love your show.
Thank you.
Hey, you're talking about a section of society that constantly is, being victimized, they think. They don't have enough. They don't have what everybody else has. Now, most of them, of course, are being housed. They're being fed. They're given phones. I'm not really sure how you can be a victim when you're being given everything. But in my opinion, it's the working class that is being victimized by our government. We right now in our family, we have we farm.
No, I understand. I hate to interrupt, but I know where you're going, and I've only got 30 seconds here. Let me explain this. You're saying, hey, we're victims too, so are they. Different ball of wax. Even though they're getting all the free stuff, that's not making them happy. That's the point. The more of it they get, the more miserable they are. The more success their party has at the polls, the more in debt we go, the more angry they are. You don't want that. You want government out of your way so that you and your farm can prosper as a result of your ingenuity, your hard work, your devotion. They're not like that. They want you punished with higher taxes or whatever else. They're not wanting government out of their lives. They want more of it in
Somebody has to have the guts to say it. Rush on the EIB Network.
You want a Valentine's Day gift that is sure to be a hit? Start with the freshest, largest strawberries of the season and then dip them into incredible chocolate. I'm talking about Sherry's Berries. I love Sherry's Berries. You can get fresh dipped strawberries from Sherry's Berries, a half dozen of them, for $19.99. And that is a 40% savings. Or you can double the amount to a dozen strawberries for just $5 more. Just go to berries.com, click on the microphone, and type in my name, Rush. Sherry's Berries are dipped in white milk and dark chocolatey goodness. They are topped with chocolate chips, chopped nuts, or decorated swizzles. Sherry's Berries makes these fresh every day, folks. Ships them overnight with packaging that keeps them fresh, and delivery is always guaranteed. Call 866-FRUIT-02 or visit berries.com. Click on the microphone in the top right corner. Enter the promo code RUSH. That's berries.com, promo code RUSH. Order now.
Portland 2016, the most prestigious sporting event ever to be hosted in the state of Oregon. The IAAF World Indoor Track and Field Championships are coming to Portland March 17th through 20th, 2016. More than 600 of the world's greatest track and field athletes from as many as 200 countries will compete over 4 days. 26 world champions will be crowned, and you can be a part of history. Tickets are on sale now at portland2016.com.
Sponsored by T-Mobile. Switch to the Un-carrier today. T-Mobile.
Mom calls us her VIPs. She says it stands for Very Important Passengers. So when my little bro and I ride in the car, we always ride in the back seat. Simon gets a special booster seat because he's still kind of short. And I'm right there next to him. Mom says it's because it's not safe up front till I'm 13 years old. She heard that if we got in a crash, I'm safer in the back seat by a whole 37%. That's her reason. But I like to pretend I'm a huge humongous rock star on my way to perform at a big concert. And instead of a minivan, I'm in a limo. And tons of fans are waiting for me, so I have to get there safely. There's a red carpet and... oh, Haley and Madison are my backup dancers! Mom even got me these rad sunglasses. Hey, a girl's got a dream, right? So parents, be like my mom and keep your kids safe in the back seat until they're 13. And buckle up, it's the way to go. A message from me and ODOT.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom. I had no idea how hard it would be and what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood and ways for me to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics, but also information about the hurdles I was facing.
Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Online at KPNW.com and on the air right now. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Open Line Friday, hosted by me, your guiding light through times of trouble and confusion, through murkiness and despair, and even the good times, which we find here. Chronicle those as well. Sit tight, folks. Much more right around the proverbial corner.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. The January jobs report was something of a puzzler, and it's feeding into investor pessimism. The Dow is down 149 points, the Nasdaq falling 111, the S&P 26. The Labor Department reported only 151,000 new jobs created last month, thousands fewer than predicted, but the unemployment rate fell to 4.9%. Wage growth was up. Economists like Joel Naroff say this is all good.
The labor market is not softening. Indeed, it may be tightening, and the outlook is for better job growth.
Strategists say investors think the growth in wages could end up hurting corporate earnings and give the Federal Reserve more ammunition to further raise interest rates. The makers of G.I. Joe and Barbie, Hasbro and Mattel, aren't the only toy makers talking merger. VTech Holdings is buying children's electronics maker Leapfrog Enterprises for about $72 million. Leapfrog was a pioneer in educational electronics, but always struggled to compete with tech companies. Read that, Apple. I'm Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
We report, you decide. This is News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady, touting progress on jobs.
This is the first time that the unemployment rate has dipped below 5% in almost 8 years. Americans are working.
President Obama moments ago saying improvement is finally starting to translate to growing wages as well. But he admits many Americans remain anxious about the economy.
How do we take the next step and make people feel more secure and feel more confident about the future?
He says his State of the Union priorities, including an emphasis on clean energy, are the way to do it. Republicans disagree and say the president's policies have stifled a stronger recovery. And Wall Street is not satisfied with 151,000 jobs created in January. Right now, the Dow is down 187 points. Puerto Rico's governor, the latest to declare a public health emergency over the Zika virus, as the CDC tries to quickly learn more about it. Fox News Radio's Eben Brown with this live.
Lisa, Puerto Rico has 22 cases of Zika, including both a pregnant woman and a man who developed the neurological disease Guillain-Barré syndrome. But the Centers for Disease Control say the focus needs to be on preventing skull deformations in unborn babies.
With each passing day, the linkage between Zika and microcephaly becomes stronger.
CDC Director Tom Frieden, the world hasn't dealt with a viral risk to babies in the womb in quite some time.
It has been more than 70 years since rubella was identified as a cause of fetal malformation.
And with only 1 of 5 infected adults showing symptoms, men need to be careful around female partners, Lisa.
Thanks, Eben. The deadly collapse of a giant crane under investigation in New York, where Mayor Bill de Blasio says a construction crew was trying to lower it because of windy conditions.
Proceeding to secure the crane, actually to bring it down to a safe and secure position when this incident occurred.
1 person was killed in a parked car, 2 others injured. Fair and balanced.
I came home from work and walked in the door. The kids built a snowman in the middle of the floor. The furnace shut down. Oh, that's just great. Good thing Priority One is open late.
Get a winter safety checkup of your heating and cooling system for just $39. Priority One Heating and Air Conditioning will do a complete winter safety inspection so that you can sleep warm and know your family is safe. Because keeping your family safe is Priority One. Act now, sleep well, and all for just $39.
PriorityOneHeating.com. Keeping you in comfort, that's Priority One.
Oregon's Game Megabucks jackpot is over $6 million. Buy yours today.
News, information, 24/7 on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Do you dance badly or hug in public? That's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love to put up with you. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit adoptuskids.org for more information. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
222. That's proflowers.com. Secret code 22.
Get ready to satisfy your sweet tooth. That's right, it's chocolate giveaway time at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. This February, get a premium box of chocolates for every 1,000 points. Offer good while supplies last. Visit threeriverscasino.com for all the details. Then on Valentine's Day, let Cupid hit you with a cash arrow at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. Join us on February 14th for our Sweethearts Hot Seat drawings. Every hour from 3 till 10 p.m., you could win a share of $6,000 in cash and free play. Visit threeriverscasino.com to find out more. Let us show you the love with cash and chocolate giveaways at Three Rivers Casino Resort and see why things are luckier here.
What do you call a certified pre-owned BMW? The ultimate driving machine. And now, with select certified pre-owned BMWs, you'll receive 1 year of complimentary maintenance, ensuring the ultimate driving machine stays that way. Visit your local BMW center today to enjoy legendary performance for less than you think. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Offer valid through February 29, 2016. Some restrictions may apply. Visit bmwusa.com/CPO special offers for details.
Financing and leasing available by BMW Financial Services. Visit BMW of Eugene, also online at bmwofeugene.com.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforests.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
They put their lives on the line for you, and now you can help them. The Oregon Paralyzed Veterans of America needs volunteers. As a volunteer, you can help out at events throughout the year, whether it's manning a booth at a fair or helping with sporting or recreation activities for the vets. You can even just answer phones. The OPVA assists vets who are paralyzed or dealing with other mobility impairments. To volunteer or donate, call 503-362-7998, 503-362-7998, or visit OregonPVA.org.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but you grew up and things changed. Well, it's time to put it back on your list. Innovative things are happening in teaching today, and you can be a part of it.
Make more. Teach. Visit teach.org. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
It's 10:06, and Rush is back. Rush Limbaugh on News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Greetings, welcome back, my friends. Great to have you here. Rush Limbaugh, the EIB Network, the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies, where among the many and varied things that we do each and every day here is happily pursue happiness and happily find happiness and happily behave in happiness without any guilt, unlike our Democrat idiot
And
friends.
now, from sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
Yes, sirree. 800-282-2882 if you want to be on the program. And remember, Open Line Friday, there are scant restrictions. Very few restrictions on what you can talk about, not like there are Monday through Thursday. But Monday through Thursday, you don't even know what the restrictions are because it just happens. That's the brilliance of how we put this together. But Friday, the calls can be all over the ballpark and not seem to make sense whatsoever because whatever people want to talk about is fair game. Sticking with the Democrat side of things here for just a little longer, and I want to back up some of what I have said so far with some sound bites in this thing last night, because if I had to watch this thing, you people are going to have to put up with some of it too. And this was the first one, I must be honest, the first one I actually sat down and watched and tried to look at it as if I were a Democrat voter. And it takes a lot of effort, folks, because we are not who they are. I am not kidding. Watching this thing